Welcome to Midwest Paranormal Presents Paranormal Soup. I'm your host, Jason Bland, and tonight we have Machiel Klerk. He's the author of Dream Guidance, Connecting the Soul Through Dream Incubation. We're going to be talking about dreams tonight. You've heard a lot of my dreams on this show. You guys can psychoanalyze me probably by now with all the different dreams I've shared, or just tell me I'm an alien abductee or crazy. I don't know. I've had a lot of weird dreams in my life, and I've always been fascinated by them. Ones that predict the future, ones that I end up talking to my loved ones who passed away. I've had all kinds of weird, strange dreams in my life, and I think most people do. I don't know. Do your dreams predict the future? Mine have. Have you talked to somebody deceased in your dreams? Yeah, I have. I bet a lot of people have had these experiences. And we're going to talk a lot about Carl Jung, if I can get that right, and the collective unconsciousness, which our guest, Machiel Klerk, has based a lot of his stuff on Jung's work. I am not the smartest guy in the room in this one, definitely. This guy is brilliant, and I can't wait to talk to him about dreams and how you can use them to basically tap into your collective unconscious and your unconscious and the collective unconscious and get answers to questions you have. It's amazing to me. The journey into the conscious mind is one of the most, I think, unexplored realms of human endeavors. We need to look more into our own consciousness minds, and dreams are definitely the key to that. Of course, we got a lot of weird to get to. We were gone for 2 weeks, so we got a lot of weird in the World Wide Web of weird to get to. And I have some extra articles, too, to share maybe later. We'll see. And then we'll open up the phone lines later in the show. I don't know if he's going to do a dream analysis or anything like that. Don't expect that. But call in and share tonight. Maybe some strange dreams that have left impressions with you. I know I myself, there's dreams you have that just haunt you for the rest of your life. Maybe not nightmares even, just dreams that stuck with you. There's something in that dream that's a message. Maybe you still haven't gotten it. It's stuck with you. Call in tonight when we open up the phone line. Share that dream. Maybe Machiel will have a answer for you. Maybe not. I don't know. Got a lot to get to, so let's go ahead and get rolling on into it. Welcome to another night of Paranormal Soup. As I said before, I'm your host, Jason Bland. Tonight's guest, Machiel Klerk, author of Dream Guidance, Connecting to the Soul Through Dream Incubation. I get that wrong. Will be joining us after the World Wide Web Weird after our first commercial break. Joining me, as always, is my beautiful co-host, Jamie D. How you doing tonight, Jamie?
Doing good, thank you.
I sadly missed World Wide Web Weird, or not World Wide Web, Weird Wednesday. Ugh, I cannot talk tonight. I wanted to see it because of all the hurricane stuff going on, and you guys still ended up having your show mid-hurricane. I would have liked to see that. And I know some of the weird stories we got tonight you guys did cover, but we're going to definitely get more into it tonight. Joining us from Hurricane Land himself is Rob Autry. How you doing tonight, Rob?
Doing good. Yeah.
So how did it go? Any damage?
I lucked out. Florida got hammered. There's no doubt about it. A lot of people are like, the storm wasn't nothing. But yeah, the storm it did hella hammering to a lot of people here. So,
as I say, it looked like it was something.
Yeah.
I think it could have been way worse if it hadn't taken kind of that turn to the right more. If it hadn't done that, it could have been a lot worse off.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially
but me,
people like in the Tampa area.
Yeah,
no kidding. Yeah, no kidding. Well, prayers out there to anybody who was affected by a Hurricane Ian. Was that what day was that? Where it was Wednesday and Tuesday, pretty much. Prayers to them, and hope your lives you can get your stuff together. If you had lost your home, I couldn't imagine. I want to live in Florida, but I definitely don't want to deal with the hurricanes. All right, we got a lot of weird to get to, so let's go ahead and roll into the World Wide Web of Weird. Tonight on the World Wide Web Weird, I thought I'd start out with this I told you so, especially from Rob, because he really did call this. And then maybe it's because he just lives in Florida. But Artemis 1 launch delayed yet again due to Hurricane Ian. If you remember, 2 weeks ago when we had a show, I covered how, the Chinese have found, basically fuel on the moon, and they want to do more. They want to get there. And now it's going to be a race to the moon for, of course, energy, which, like energy crisis that we're in. That's going to be great. But we're probably not going to get there first, it looks like. Wrong button. I am off my game after being gone for 2 weeks. Yes, let me get this article back up. Shoot. And my screen here. Okay. Now share screen. Here we go. Yes, get back in the game, Jason. No, that removes it. There we go. Oh, my God. Okay. First launch of NASA's flagship Artemis program has been plagued by technical issues and delays. And run up to the August 29th excitement surrounding the launch of Artemis 1, the first step in NASA's plans to return humans to the moon, has reached a fever pitch. I cannot talk. On the day itself, however, a faulty sensor reading caused the launch to be suspended, and the date was pushed back to the next window of September 3rd. Unfortunately, the second attempt also failed due to a fuel leak, leaving it a big question mark over the launch and exactly when NASA would be putting in the Space Launch System into space. Fast forward a few weeks, and now yet another possible launch window has yet to be scrapped due to the impending approach of the Hurricane Ian. This, of course, came out before then, and, of course, they didn't fly. And, Rob, it was a few weeks ago or more when we were covering the delayed launch, and you go, when is it planned for the next launch? And you're like, oh, yeah, that's going to totally get delayed. I remember you saying that. You're like, yeah, hurricane weather, Florida, and, yeah, it's not going to happen. Rob called it.
Wrong time of the year to plan major outdoor activity.
Yeah, hurricane season. Let's launch a rocket to the moon again.
Yeah.
Seems almost like they planned this.
Yeah, there's something going on there.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not one of those. Some of the conspiracy theorists on this is like, we're never going to the moon again because we never went. I don't know. I mean, I really hope we did. I think there's a lot of evidence to support that we did, but then there's people who have evidence that says we didn't. I don't know. I think we went and there was aliens and we're delaying as long as possible because what if that's what they're prepping for?
Yeah.
For the whole disclosure thing, because there's going to be a race to the moon now for sure. You got China saying, "Oh yeah, we're going. They got fuel. You know,
We got mineral on the moon.
helium-3. We can mine it. Now it's going to be about money and energy. Of course, I still think the cost ratio for getting ships up there right now, it costs so much money, and to get that back down, it wouldn't be even worth the fuel. We have to come up with something else, I would think. But anyways, the race to the moon is on, and if the aliens are there and China gets there first, and they're like, "Look, there was aliens. You lied," or we get. I doubt they would be honest either, but I seriously
we hadn't been there since the '60s, so I mean the race.
Actually,
is on
I think China gets there before us, and they found aliens. They'd lie about it too. I'm dead sure of that.
They just found moon crystals.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it would make fuel. All right, so this one they had on the Weird Wednesday. And Debbie Anderson, you remember, we've had her on several times. Great medium, great guest. Wanted to make sure I saw this one because she knows this is up my line of, I guess, hijinks, excuse me, that happened that I like to talk about. Not paranormal at all, but weird. This is weird. I don't understand this one. It's happened on 3 different flights. Bizarre moaning sounds seem to be plaguing American Airlines flights. Some passengers have been reporting very strange sounds over intercoms during their flight. The extremely bizarre phenomenon was recently brought to light when film producer Emerson Collins posted up a recording he had made during his flight from Los Angeles to Dallas on September 6th. "The weirdest flight ever," he wrote. "These sounds started over the intercom before takeoff and continued throughout the flight. They couldn't stop it, and after landing still had no idea what it was. Described as being halfway between an orgasm and vomiting." I think it's a guy taking a dump with hemorrhoids. "The sounds were like a peculiar moaning or groaning, as though someone was struggling with constipation." Yeah, like that's what I thought. "While under the influence. At various times throughout the flight, these bizarre sounds could be heard being broadcast to everyone on the plane through the intercom, prompting the staff to apologize for the disturbance. Ladies and gentlemen, we realize there's an extremely irritating sound coming over the public announcements," the attendant said. "The flight deck is trying to troubleshoot, trying to turn it off. So please be patient with us. We know this is a very odd anomaly, and none of us are enjoying it." All right, go ahead and play it. A little loud, turn it down.
Someone on this flight seems to have broken into the intercom system and continues to make a sound that is somewhere between an orgasm and vomiting.
Ladies and gentlemen, we realize there is an extremely irritating sound coming over the public announcements. The flight deck is trying to troubleshoot, trying to turn it off. So please be patient with us. We know this is a very odd anomaly and none of us are enjoying it. So we do appreciate your attention just for a few more moments so we figure out how to turn it off. Thank you.
I'm just waiting to hear bloop.
Who is having a puke yank?
Flush.
Puke yank.
Puke yank? Oh my god. I missed that last time you said that. I like this guy is like, what the what's going on? For people listening on the Paranormal Soup Radio Network, there's this guy is literally filming himself reacting to this. This goes on for 2 minutes. We could probably end. I don't want to run out of time. But then again, wait, hold on.
Yeah, it's a prank, yeah.
We're looking into things to do is try and mitigate that. Do what we can, if not, we'll
That's a pilot.
get it down.
They just landed.
I'm going to get a touchdown.
Okay, so the mysterious deepened further when it was revealed that technology executive Bradley P. Allen had also heard the same weird noises during an American Airlines flight back in July, suggesting it was not an isolated incident. So this is not the only time this has happened. He recalled it had only happened a few times, but some passengers had been freaked out by it. There was also a third report of the same phenomenon occurring September 18th on a flight from John Wayne Airport in Orange County to Dallas. As things stand, no definitive explanation for the enigma has been forthcoming. And from what I've read further on this from LA Times, is that this is not a connected system to anything. Like, somebody'd have to be physically on the plane hacking into their intercom.
I think someone's
Which you
doing
know
it
is
with
not
their
happening.
cell phones.
How? They said that could not be possible. It's not on a Wi-Fi system.
Really?
It's not on a system you could hack in from the internet or any way and put those sounds through. Unless there's some, my thought is, it's a speaker system. They say it's not on any Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. Is it? Is there something that's connected that has Bluetooth that can set signals to it and then somebody hacked it? I don't know. But really sounds like somebody having some physical problems there.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Or is it haunted? Were these planes having spare parts from them? No, I don't know. It's weird. It's definitely weird. You could tell the pilot and the attendants were very annoyed.
He said how to mitigate that.
No, she said also, she said, we are not enjoying it. Like, she said in a way like, to whoever's doing it, you better stop.
Yeah.
Which, made him want to do it more.
It's not funny.
Yeah. I mean, you get in big trouble where if somebody was doing that, if it is a prank, and they did it on 3 different flights, they just need to look at the manifest and see, oh, this person flew on all 3 flights.
Yeah.
And all 3 of these flights had these weird groaning sounds. You would think, it would have to be the same person pulling this off. Okay, we can move on. All right, now let's see. We got a ghost on a rooftop. A lot of stuff that comes out of India when it comes to these ghost videos. I definitely don't cover even a fragment of them, but this one was kind of interesting. An intriguing news story from New Delhi this week concerns the alleged presence of a paranormal entity that residents of Rasani have been seeing on the rooftops of local buildings. The unexplained visitor, which is said to be dressed in all white, has caused so much concern among locals that some people are now too scared to leave their homes. It is not particularly unusual for such cases of mass hysteria to strike in some of the poorer parts of the world or where superstitious beliefs are commonplace, but in this particular case, someone has actually captured the alleged spirit on camera and posted it up on the internet. The clip is rather difficult to make out, but it does appear to show a white cloth figure standing or perhaps sitting on the edge of a building's roof a short distance away. The figure doesn't really move much. It's just kind of chilling on the ledge around 10 to 20 feet in the air. So could this be really a ghost? While some of the locals evidently think so, it seems more likely this is either a regular person wearing a white sheet or robe, or even just a sheet draped over the edge of the building. Police have also reportedly registered a case against a known miscreant at a local station, suggesting this might be more of a prank than a case of supernatural intervention, because people are seeing him on the roof, and then somebody got it on video, so go ahead and play. I think it's a prank. I think somebody's playing around people and getting on roofs dressed in all white and going, woo! There's a lot of popularity with TikTok videos, viral videos in India of ghosts, and so you get a lot of this, a lot of prank, shenanigans, I think, happening. Whatever's there is physical, I would think.
Yeah, and what's weird to me is, seeing the size of the building, and the scale of the figure. I mean, it looks huge. Like, it looks like it'd be like...
I think it's a small building.
Yeah.
I think it's a small building, that's why.
Okay.
An easy roof for this thing to get up on,
Yeah.
And where it does look like it has a white face covering on it, like the whole thing is white, and it looks like a person. But is it a ghost? Nah, I don't think ghosts wear white sheets, generally.
Yeah. Well, Casper did, but I mean...
It's Casper, your friendly ghost, just sitting on the roof. Okay, we can move on. Let's see. This saddens my heart here. This next story. Why people would... people can be crazy. And I don't think it's crazy to see a deity in the sky. That's not the crazy part. So, weird story out of Singapore. A man who thought he saw a Buddhist deity wound up fighting a skeptical bystander who couldn't spot the suspected apparition themselves. The odd incident reportedly occurred with Philip Onggu Zhang and his wife noticed something unusual in the sky, which they believed to be a vision of Gan Yin Ma, a figure revered in Buddhist religion as a goddess of mercy and compassion. While the pair were snapping pictures of the odd sight, they were approached by a curious delivery driver who was passing by and wondered what the couple were photographing. Upon being told of the deity that they saw in the sky, the man also tried to capture the strange scene with his camera, which is when things went wildly awry. Looking at his image, the delivery driver failed to see any sign of Gan Yin Ma in them, nor did he recognize the deity in the sky overhead. Suspecting that he was being misled, he then accused Zhang of being some kind of scam artist and began taking photos of the couple, which they did not appreciate. This led to tempers flaring between the two men, and the delivery driver challenged his adversary to a fight. Zhang responded by shoving the man, which sent him tumbling into a nearby stone bench. Clearly, if Ganya Ma had truly appeared in the sky that day, her message of compassion and mercy was lost on the two men. Zhang was subsequently arrested for assault after a witness to that altercation called for the police. So, yeah, you see this deity in the sky. You have this magical moment. You think you'd just be like, all right, dude, you don't see him. It's cool. It's cool. I had my spiritual moment. No, you're going to get a fight. It's not like the guy, though, the delivery driver was kind of a, D-I-C-K.
A D-bag.
Yeah, definitely. Taking pictures. Like just say, I don't see anything. Okay, you guys are crazy and walk on. Taking out your phone and taking pictures of them, accuse them of being scam artists, man. These people are testy there. Yeah, they saw a deity in the sky. Get over it. You don't see it. Some people, and that goes back to some people have these visions and see things together with other people, while other people in the same area don't see it. Go back to Fatima and go back to other religious sightings. Those who have eyes to see, ears to hear. I'm just saying that could have been what was happening there, or those two people were out of their gourd, and they got pissed off. Nobody else was seeing it. I don't know, or they're tripping balls. But I really think they probably saw something, and this guy just walked upon it, and he really stepped into a situation there. All right, let's move on. Oh, where am I at? Oh, this one I got to play the audio of. I don't have the video of this, because it's from a news broadcast of the Queen's funeral. But this is weird. Was this an EVP captured, or was this just somebody tapping into a system they shouldn't have? We get these things. Weird voice whispers, "Death is irreversible" during Queen's funeral. It was a day of mourning, and not just in the UK, but worldwide, as people from countries in all walks of life paid their respects to the late monarch, Queen Elizabeth, blah, blah, blah. We know this. The funeral procession was covered extensively on television, with multiple channels in the UK providing live coverage of the entire day's events. One live feed managed to generate a great deal of intrigue for a very different reason, however, thanks to a strange technical glitch that caused an unknown voice to interrupt the broadcast. It happened on ITV, which had been showing the Queen's coffin being driven to the next destination along crowd-lined streets of London. All of a sudden, you hear a whispered female voice can be heard saying that death is irreversible, and the fact that she's trapped, before being cut off by a male presenter who is commenting on the footage. It almost sounds like he hears hear it too, doesn't it? Like he stops talking, like wait, what's this woman's voice saying? And he kind of comes back like little disheveled a little bit. It sounds like. All right, let's go ahead and I'm just going to play the audio of it.
That death is irreversible, and the fact that she's trapped. As you can see,
and the fact that she's trapped. I missed that part. It has a total EVP.
I never heard that in the first time.
Yeah.
It's like EVP game.
That death is irreversible, and the fact that she's trapped. As you can see,
it sounds. There's a cadence or a tone to EVPs. I've listened to hundreds and hundreds. I've caught hundreds and hundreds of EVPs. There's just a certain cadence and rhythm and tone and intonation to EVPs. Like they sound like this, and I'm going to play it again.
Death is irreversible, and the fact that she's trapped. As you can see.
You guys know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard this, and I didn't hear the second part before, and I thought maybe that it was spill through.
As you can see.
Yeah, she's trapped.
I never heard that trapped part.
That death is irreversible, and the fact that she's trapped. As you can see.
See,
I heard the trap part, and they're saying it could be a expert grief counselor. I find it would be weird for a grief counselor to say death is irreversible. That's one thing, but the fact that she's trapped, I don't think a grief counselor would say, "Oh,
how are you feeling now? How do you feel about your loved one's loss? Death is irreversible. They're never coming back, and they're trapped.
And she's trapped.
She's trapped. She's trapped in hell."
Yeah, it's
weird. Is this the counselor for the Royals?
Yeah.
It has the cadence of an EVP. It has that sound. It really does. I don't know. It could definitely be a technical glitch, but I swear the presenter hears it too.
Yeah, he does, because he stops and then he comes back.
Yeah.
He comes back with that, what the?
Yeah, like something's going on. All right, we got to move on. We've talked about this before, but now with the Queen's death, there are renewed calls, and many of you might not know this, about Prince Philip. He had his own Royal X-Files, they call it. He had his own plethora of UFO books and clippings, reports, and all kinds of stuff he could get his hands on. He was fascinated by UFOs. I always pointed out as if he was a reptilian, as like David Icke says, and other people, no problem with David Icke. I got like 4 of his books on my shelf. But if he's a reptilian, why would he want books on UFOs? He'd know all about it, right? Right? I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's, I don't know. Until 2009, UK's Ministry of Defense, MOD, actively investigated UFO phenomenon, but it wasn't just government officials who were interested in the topic. The late Prince Philip, who died in 2021 at the age of 99, held quite a fascination for the subject as well. The Duke allegedly first became interested in UFOs as his uncle, Lord Mountbatten, wrote an official report about a strange object that landed in his state of Rosmy, Hampshire, back in 1955. In it, he decided witnessing a saucer-shaped craft which hovered just above the ground before a strange man wearing overalls and a helmet descended to the ground. It's a really crazy report that Mountbatten had actually seen this. Pretty much don't run out of time, and there's more to this article, but Prince Philip started collecting anything he could get his hands on. It fascinated him as a child. And like I said, all the conspiracy theorists that say they're really reptilian aliens, I don't know. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. But if they are they aware of it? Because he's interested in UFOs. You think they have all the answers. I would be interested to see what his collection is, but I doubt it's going to be anything X-Files, it's nothing classified. It's his personal collection. It'd be like mine, except a lot bigger because he has a lot more money and a lot more insider. I'm sure he got some stuff from the inside from the, he could get stuff from their MOD and, the Ministry of Defense. Be like, hey, man, I'm Prince Philip. Slide me some secret UFO stuff, and they probably get you a little bit.
Could be reptilian-like family photos or something.
Yeah, I don't know. He was just trying to get connect to his cousin Lenny.
Yeah.
The reptilian. Okay, let's move on.
Egg
We're almost out of time. We got a minute left, darn it. I guess can't really read the article of this, but you guys, I think, covered this. I don't know. A UFO appears in official logo of U.S. Aviation Intelligence Office. And there it is. There's the logo. For a minute. And then they took it down. You wonder what happened with this. We're going to run out of time here, but they post this logo, and Jamie, you were saying you thought it might be just like them having a little fun. My opinion is that somebody actually is like, oh, we're investigating this. We should put this in a logo. And a couple of people are like, yeah, that's cool. And they put it up. And then some big wig official was like, no. And it's gone. That's what I think really happened.
Yeah.
I think that sounds like something that would happen.
The guy who created logos, but we are investigating UFOs. You wanted a logo with everything on it, but we're investigating and we're intelligence and yeah, miscommunication.
Well, yes,
cool
put everything on there.
Yeah, that's a cool logo.
It looks a lot cooler.
It's not as cool without the UFO in it now. Not as cool. All right, that's it for the World Wide Web Weird. Machiel Klerk, author of Dream Guidance, Connecting to the Soul Through Dream Incubation, will be joining us here after the commercial break. And then we'll open up the phone lines after the second commercial break. Further into the show, you can call in later. Maybe share some of your dreams tonight. We'll definitely, I've always had an interest. Like I said, you guys probably could do a whole dream psychoanalysis on me and all the dreams I've shared on this show, usually involving weird, crazy aliens or ghosts or seeing the future or talking to my dead loved ones, that kind of dreams I've shared on here on the show. But I've had lots of crazy dreams. I'm sure you have. There's always those dreams that kind of haunt us, that stick with us. There's some reason they don't have to be terrifying. They could be just something really weird or unusual, but it's here. It never leaves your mind. It's always in the back of your mind. That dream never went away, right? I know people have had that experience. All right, guys, we're going to commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Join us every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time for Weird Wednesday, the live stream, with your hosts Jamie, the Living Dead Girl, and Rob, the Phantom, where we'll talk about all things paranormal including zodiac, astrology, tarot card and oracle card readings, live ghost boxing and spirit communication, where we'll do voices from beyond the cold case files. So we hope you join us live on Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time. We hope to see you there. Bye-bye.
Since 1948, Fate magazine has brought you reports of the strange and unknown, all of them true. Fate Radio is carrying on that tradition, bringing you the unusual, macabre, strange, and bizarre. Join host Kat Hobson Sunday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Of the second kind, physical evidence of a UFO. Close encounters of the third kind, contact. From Steven Spielberg, the director of Jaws, comes one of the most ambitious and unusual films ever made. And what you will see has never been seen before. It's a cosmic mystery crossing what many scientists believe will be the next threshold of human experience. It is called Close Encounters of the Third Kind. It begins in an Indiana town and leads to one inescapable conclusion. We are not alone. Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Certificate A. Now showing at the Odeon, Leicester Square.
The international chart-topping, Haunted Horror of Haverfordwest has been described as terrifyingly real, a must-read, shocking and chilling brilliance, genuinely worrying, utterly frightening. Don't read before bed. Described as one of the spookiest writers out there, best-selling author G.L. Davies presents Haunted Horror of Haverfordwest, the true paranormal account that is shocking the world. Dare you enter? Dare you read? Haunted Horror of Haverfordwest is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, and wherever books are sold. Pray you never have to live there.
This is the sound of a space clock aboard a U.S. satellite 180 miles above the Earth. No one winds up this timepiece. It's powered by a tiny battery, a battery that delivers power for years without replacement. Now the same type of battery, the Duracell battery, can bring new reliability and long life to your battery-operated equipment. Radios, cameras, toys, all run far longer. Duracell batteries, the long-distance power cells, outlast any ordinary battery. The same type of battery that keeps space clocks running for years can bring long life to anything powered by batteries. Dura, as in durable. Cell, as in power cell. The Duracell battery, made by Mallory.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from Talkstream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app. Free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Switch to DCS ranging.
240, nominal to profile.
We're in the pipe, 5x5.
Tonight on Paranormal Soup, our guest is Machiel Klerk. He's a social entrepreneur, licensed mental health therapist, international speaker, dream worker, and a published author. He's been a mental health therapist since 2006 and currently has an online private practice. Machiel is fascinated by healing traditions. He earned a master's degree in counseling psychology at Pacifica Graduate Institute. Machiel has traveled all over the world and studied many cultures and their healing and dream traditions, and in specific, the African traditions, as South of Africa is the country of his birth. Machiel has published a book, Dream Guidance, with the respected Hay House Publishing Company. The book is currently available through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and a pre-order. Machiel has given lectures and workshops in Europe, South Africa, North America, and about dreams and psychology. He also provides inspirational talks and workshops for companies on creativity, innovation, and leadership. He's written several articles on dreams and released a course on Jung Platform. Machiel has vocationally been guided by dreams when he founded the Jung Society of Utah and the online organization Jung Platform as a result of the nighttime dream. In appreciation of these contributions, he has received several awards from local communities. He moved in his early youth from South Africa to the Netherlands and lived near France during his teenage years. He's backpacked a year through Asia and then moved in 2004 to USA, where he still lives and dreams. Like I said, I love having a show just on the topic of dreams. They had Delaney we had on with interpreted dreams. I've been fascinated. You guys probably, like I said, could psychoanalyze me by all the dreams I've shared on this show. But tonight, later, we'll open up the phone lines. You guys want to call in and share some of those dreams. I said, like, leave a scar in your brain. Nightmare or not, some of them are not nightmares. They're just the dream left some kind of impression on you that never goes away. I'd love to hear from you guys later in the show tonight on that. But let's go ahead and get to our guest. All right, I see our guests in the waiting room. Let's make sure they're on and we can hear them. How you doing, Machiel? Yeah, you say your first name?
That's close enough. It's a Dutch name, which is really hard to pronounce. It's Machiel, but most people say Machiel or something that comes close to it.
Yeah. See, Michael, welcome to America, Michael. I just call you Michael. No, I'm trying to get it right. Machiel. I'm going to butcher it all night. I'm so sorry. Welcome to the show. It's an honor to have you on. I have not read the book, but I was checking it out on Amazon and definitely am interested in getting it. I have read stuff over the years. I'm not nowhere near an expert or know enough at all on it, but I've always been fascinated by Carl Jung. Yes. And I've been a person that's been deeply fascinated by dreams and the collective unconscious and what consciousness is in total. It's fascinated me ever since my childhood. So I'd love to get into that tonight. And like I said, I've talked about numerous different dreams I've had on the show, I guess. Like it's enough that people could psychoanalyze me with it. But for you, what led you down this road, this path of being fascinated by dreams?
Well, before I say that, just to make sure you can hear me well, the sound is okay.
You sound perfect.
Okay, fantastic. Well, my journey really started in my early 20s when I got... are you still there?
I'm here.
Oh, okay.
I'm just giving you to the audience.
Oh, okay. I just see myself. And
yep.
I was like, did something happen? All right. Yeah, I was in my early 20s, and I was in a pit of my life. I hadn't dealt well with the grief and loss of losing my dad at the age of 10. Didn't have a real great idea of what to do with my life, and in the depths of the pit, I by chance stumbled upon the works of Carl Jung, and that gave me a lifeline out of my my unresolved grief and my depression. And I started to see that dreams have the potential to portray almost like a psychological X-ray where we are in life, but also that there are elements in our dreams pointing towards the future, where our life is streaming towards. And by following the streams in my dream, I started reconnecting with a sense of purpose and a sense of meaning, and my life just became so much better that I've been holding on ever since. And following the thread of dreams. So that is that's really where it started.
Do you think Jung had, what I know of Carl Jung is that he had an open mind to the ideas of consciousness, the afterlife. Somebody who had an open mind to it in a field that didn't back then, especially. Do you think the dream world, from what you've found, is connected beyond just your own subconscious?
Yes, I think that, let's say metaphorically, we are a wave on the ocean, and the wave is our personal unconscious. And in Jungian terms, the ocean would be the collective unconscious, something we all share. And actually, we're made of the same substance. Everyone's made out of this water of the ocean. So the larger unconscious, and us, we're interconnected. And I think that so we're not only interconnected in here, that you and I and the other participants are interconnected, but also interconnected to the world behind the world where the ancestors live. And even Carl Jung would say the unconscious is equals or is equates to the land of the dead.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get into it tonight, but I mean, for me, early on in my, when I was really young, I was in grade school. I had a series of dreams over a year that would just keep predicting the future. It'd be stupid, mundane stuff,
Yeah.
but until it led up to something that was really serious. I ended up saving a friend's life in sixth grade who tried to like kill himself. The dream led me to saving him, and then it stopped. But it was like the whole summer, right up to the end of it. That pretty much was like the last day of summer. He was having a birthday party. It all led up to that. And I've had other dreams in my life that totally show me the future, to the point where I'm sitting. There was a time me and my wife were driving down the road in the middle of the night from this 4th of July party, and she was really sick, too much alcohol. And she's yelling at me to pull over, and I'm like, it came to me. It hit me right there. I've been here. I've done this. I've dreamt this weeks and weeks and weeks ago. I'm like, I turned her, I go, we pull over, there's going to be a cop right behind us. And he's going to, do the whole DUI test on me and everything. She's like, I don't care, pull over. So I did. She pulled open the door, and this is the middle of a country road, middle of the night, no one around. You don't see anyone around. Can't see any cars. There's nobody out there. But sure enough, it was just like the dream. I mean, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's remarkable, huh? And I think that one of the things it shows is there's something in us or around us, outside of us, that knows about us and knows about our future. And even if we don't know what this phenomenon is, we know it exists, and we can. It does communicate to us through dreams, and we can also proactively reach out to it in our dreams or before we go to bed by asking it questions for guidance in our life. And that can make our life so much better, to check in with this compassionate counselor or wise guide or intelligent phenomenon.
You talk, the book Dream, Connecting to the Soul Through Dream Incubation. So what is dream incubation?
Dream incubation is the very old method of asking your dream a question before you go to bed, in order for you to have an helpful dream or a guiding dream for any question that you've asked. And it's a technique that comes back in almost any culture. Almost any culture, there were people that stumbled upon this notion of, hey, there seems to be something inside of us or around us that knows about our life, that knows about where to hunt, where to sleep for the night, what might lie in the future. And we can ask it for support, whether it's in the old Greek tradition or Hindu tradition or North American, the Indian tradition. Almost any tradition had this idea of asking dreams for guidance. And what I did in that book was I just looked at all these traditions, and in my own practice and on my own experience, I distillated it to a 5-step process where we all can ask our dreams for support on mainly questions that are relevant to our life path.
Yeah, not mundane, stupid questions, or like, hey, give me the lotto numbers if you can know the future,
Yeah,
You're not going to get that kind of information. But I've told callers into the show, we do shows on here where we do spirit communication. We do the paranormal happens live here. But I've told people a simple way, you want to connect with your loved one on the other side, from my own personal experience, is before you lay down, talk to them out loud and say, come to me in my dream.
Yeah,
I want to see you. And a good chance you're going to have this experience. And some people, they'll have the experience, write it off. Well, it's just my unconscious giving me what I asked for. It's not real. To me, I think it's real. I think I've had numerous dreams I feel like were real visitations from my loved ones.
Yeah, I also think that that sometimes the loved ones do visit us, and usually those dreams are a little bit more intense, or
There's
they
a
contain.
difference to them. Yeah.
There's a difference than I might dream about grandma, and grandma might be symbolic, but then another time grandma might really come and visit me, and it feels like she's really there, and sometimes she has something to tell me or share something, or just say, hey, things are going well on this side. And
For me, it was my grandmother and my aunt giving me a really big hug.
yeah, beautiful,
And
right?
it was just as
Yeah,
real as being there. It felt so
yeah.
real, and I could feel them, smell them.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
usually my dreams aren't that detailed.
yeah. And I think many people actually experience those types of dreams because the ancestors do visit us in dreams. And if we remember our dreams, we will see that the deceased, the loved ones, do come by from time to time.
Now, I have a lot of dumb dreams, as everybody else I'm sure does, but they're probably not dumb. I mean, when you get into this, it's all your if it's not ancestors coming to talk to you, it's your inner self, your higher self, or your soul, or whatever, trying to communicate something to you.
Yeah.
Why doesn't it just tell you? Like, why does it always have to be in these kind of? It's like a riddle, or it's in metaphors, or you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying, like the teeth falling out.
Yes.
Or I had the one where I felt like I had a string in my throat. I'm like
Oh
trying to
yeah,
pull it
yeah,
out,
yeah,
like like that.
yeah.
You know, the meta, and the thing is, you know, you talk about the archetypes, and these things line up that we all kind of share a lot of these same metaphorical dreams that mean stuff is really interesting in itself to what consciousness is. Uh, how do you get through all that, the metaphors and what it's trying to communicate to you? Because it seems like the unconscious has a weird way of talking.
It has a weird way of talking, and its way of talking is that it actually does produce a world. So it's not even an image. We're at night.
Right.
We're not seeing a movie. We are in a world. And so this world creating principle or way of manifesting itself, that is its complex way of doing that. But that's probably to do with that it's so much more intelligent than us, that it's also more accurate by portraying in metaphorical way a situation. We already say a picture says more than 1,000 words, and probably a world says more than a picture, than 1,000 words. And indeed, in the dream, we could be walking into a one-way street, and that would be metaphorically from where we really are in our life. So our dream would really portray very accurately what is going on inside of us, or with us, in this way of creating a world. And and that is not as straightforward as you and I are
Yeah,
talking
just
right
telling
now.
you, like, I'm gonna sit you down, buddy, and we're gonna talk.
Yeah, that would be
You know,
nice.
like we got some problems.
Yeah.
But it makes sense because I mean it doesn't have a voice. It has all the guided gobbledygook that's up in your head. You know, to show you and share you. It reminds me too, if you listen to like mediums who speak to the dead,
Hmm.
the way they get is through like a telepathic communication. It's not like the most time. It's not
Yeah.
like it is in the movies where the dead person's standing in front of them and just talking to them. No, it's these images and feelings, and they get their own personal memories used to communicate certain things to them, and they use that to get to communicate with somebody from the other side. It almost feels like whatever we are on the other side, or whatever consciousness is outside of the physical, the way of communication is very similar to what the unconsciousness communicates. It's through imagery and feelings and metaphors and just a quick telepathic way of communicating, maybe.
That is right, and I think also that the game of life is in a certain way set up for us to experience life and make a lot of our own decisions. So the dream often portrays where we are or where things are heading towards, but it doesn't overly interfere with our life. It let us play out where we are. Unless we ask for support or guidance, then it is on standby helping us. There's some element of free will in this whole game, and I think
Right.
in the dream it's pretty easy to discover, and but it plays out in a similar way in this reality.
One of the things I dealt with as a kid was having dreams of the future.
Hmm.
Like having a dream and then having it happen and go, I dreamt this. Is that I had one, because always the question was, does that mean everything's just predestined, right? And I always loved Yoda's comment in Star Wars is the future's always in motion. I had one dream where I was dating my wife at this time. We had just started dating, and I had this dream where my mom's like, "There's somebody a girl for you on the phone." I pick up the phone, and it's this girl, and she says her name is Jen, and that she's friends with my friend. He put her up to call me, and she's like, "Come have drinks with us. Come have drinks with us." In the dream, I go out and I have drinks with them, even though I know my girlfriend at the time might not be happy about that. And things happen and ends up ruining the relationship with my girlfriend. Like it's like a whole timeline plays out, like a whole life timeline, at least of a couple months or whatever. And I wake up from that dream going, man, that was weird. It was only like a week later, I get my mom going, there's a girl on the phone for you. I don't know who she is. And, or Jen, as I said her name was. And I get on the phone, and it's exactly happening, exactly as I dreamt it. And I go put my friend Chris on the phone. She's like, what? I said, I know Chris put you up to this. Because in the original dream, it took me a while to get out of her why she's calling me.
Yeah.
But this time, I'm just like, I know Chris put you up to this. She goes, okay. And he gets on the phone. He's like, dude, I'm just trying to get you to come out and have a good time. He didn't like my wife as my girlfriend at that time. He didn't like her. He didn't even know her. And he's like, why would you get married? You know, he always thought I was never going to get married. And here's this girl changes me. So he was trying to mess with my relationship a little bit. But I turned it down. I said, I'm not coming out. I'm not doing it. Don't play with me, man. And that was it. If I feel like what I saw was that. I mean, exactly that. And I could have gone down a whole different timeline.
Yeah.
But I chose a different path.
Well, I love that notion that you where you quote Yoda, where the future is in motion, and I think I've through my own explorations I've come to a similar conclusion that the future is not fixed, but some patterns are so far along the way that it is very likely that they will that you can predict based on where the development is today, where it will go tomorrow. And but the further you get in the future, the more
free will is always in play. That's
free
what
will
I
is,
think
free
I
will
learned.
is always
Yeah.
in play. Yeah, and
And it has to be. What would be
it-
the point of life without free will and choice and learning? You know, if everything's predestined, you don't learn, you don't have choice. It's just you're going for the ride.
it would be a totally different experience.
Now, in this dream incubation, what are some of the what are these 5 steps? Can you kind of give us an idea how people could maybe even tonight, guys, when you go to sleep after this show, incubate their dream, for a purpose, a question.
Absolutely, I would encourage people to do that, and they can take something that's relevant to their life. What I've seen is that questions that are that work well are questions that must be relevant to your life. So if you ask the question, "What did my neighbor have for dinner last night?" Your dream is like not answering that. But if you ask,
Yeah, it's like, don't waste my time.
right, it needs to just support your life path, or you becoming more conscious or more loving. And I can give an example. Recently,
please.
there was this man who had been divorced for a year, and he was just dating again, and he came to me and said, "I wanna figure out how I can find a loved one." And then and he said, "Is that a question I can ask?" Of course you can. It's a great question. So step 1 is really identifying which question is alive in you, and it might be something that if people are listening now that you've been thinking about today, or something bigger in your life, whatever it is that is alive. So in this case, this man want to find a great partner. Then the next thing was you have to step 2 is formulate a good question. And a good question is an open-ended question. It is one question at a time. So not like, how do I find the love of my life? And how do I lose weight? And how do I increase my business? then you don't know how to read your dream response to the two or three different questions.
Yeah, one question at a time.
One question at a time. And this man thought about it, and it sometimes it takes a little bit of time to come to a really good question, but he thought about it and he said, well, actually what I really want to know is, what is my biggest obstacle in dating? Because if I solve my obstacle, I
That's a good
probably,
question.
yeah. And so he wrote that then step 3 is write it down and do a little ritual. And with a ritual, I really mean set an intention, do some activity around it. So this person drew a heart on a piece of paper and then put a question mark on it and wrote to the dream.
Yeah.
To spend some time on it. That's really the main thing of the ritual, focused time to let the dream know I'm interested. And then step 4 is go to bed, meditate in bed briefly, a minute or two on your question, sleep. And then when you wake up, step 5 is write down the dream. Because if you don't, dreams evaporate.
Yeah,
So
they do.
write it down. And this
Yeah.
man had a dream, and he said, he wrote down, I'm in a tunnel in my car, and I think that in the distance I see a mountain lion. When I get closer, I see it's a beautiful tiger. Then I get really scared and I slam on the brakes and I back out. So he wrote that down. And then, so those are the 5 steps. And then he worked on the dream. And instead of asking the question, what does this mean? He asked the question, what is happening? And he said, well, what is happening is I'm moving through life. And when I see something that is really beautiful and scary, I slam on the brakes and I back out.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and so that gave him a lot of information, and then you can use the same technique further of how can I better deal with this fear, how can I engage with the fear, etc., etc. These journeys are longer, but that's in a nutshell the 5 steps. Identify that you have a question, write down a good question, do a ritual, sleep, dream, and then write it down and work on it.
The ritual can be anything. It's just to give it like importance or to identify to your own consciousness, unconscious, that I'm doing this. Listen to me. This is important. Yeah. It's like to give it some kind of importance. So you're not asking for your neighbor's dinner menu, whatever. Give it some kind of importance to it. That's the thing too. You say about writing it down right away. I always said the way that our brains work in dream state, it's like you're totally clear. Like, I don't know if people have had these dreams where like you're given like some kind of knowledge of something, like you understand it in the dream, like you completely understand it. Like, oh wow, I've totally never realized this. I totally understand. You wake up and it's like your brain can't translate what was given to you. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I have a dream. I'm sorry. I have a dream pyramid where it's a little glass pyramid and one of the sides open. So at night you write down your intent and you put it. It's like a ritual itself doing that.
I like that. That is awesome.
Beautiful. That's a great ritual indeed.
Yeah.
Like you do something.
I'm gonna steal that one.
In the old Egyptian times, they wrote it down and they put a question under their mattress. It doesn't really matter what you do, like what you said, Jason, before. It's just that you put focus and attention in it. I've looked at all these traditions, and some say you need to drink milk, and then you need to pray to this god, and the next one says no, you need to make a fire and sleep on your left side. And all these things, they have all different rituals, and it's really, it doesn't matter which ritual. It matters that you do a ritual that is heartfelt and that you meet that is serious to you and that communicates to the dream or the divine or the mystery. Hey, this is serious to me, and I would love to get an answer.
The dreams that go from me really quick sometimes. Like the other night, I said you have dreams that scar you. I talked about at the beginning of the show that stick with you for like I remember dreams I had as a kid sometimes that still stick with me, be it some, and not always scary ones, They didn't stick with me just because they were because they were scary. Some they stick to me because they're so emotional.
Yeah.
Or that so it's impacted on me. But I have other dreams. It's like I know more was happening. Like I woke up in the middle of the night the other night. All I can remember, it's like you wake up and I'm like trying to grab what was happening. All I can remember is what woke me up, which was somebody was trying to take a needle and put it down my throat, and I bit into it, and I actually felt the metal. I felt my teeth bite into metal, and then I woke up, and I could not all day long, and even days later I still keep reliving that bite into metal. Like it unnerved me. I couldn't hardly go back to sleep, but I can't grab what was that dream about or what anything else was in it. It was immediately gone, probably because of the shock of what woke me up out of it.
Well, a couple of things that come up to me around it, but one is that at night our short-term memory goes offline, so it just doesn't work when we are asleep, and only gets back online when we wake up. And of course, we need the short-term memory to get things stored in the long-term memory. So we have probably 2 hours of dream experiences we go through at night, and we remember at best snippets, a couple of minutes of it. And if we don't write it down immediately, they evaporate unless it's super intense or emotional.
Right.
Then it will stick in our memory.
Yeah, like I said, all I can remember that the other night was just biting into metal.
And
is that symbolic? You think at all? I mean, biting into metal like that, or a metal needle.
What I also think about it is what you see there is that a dream is so real that normally in the dream you don't even know you're dreaming.
Yeah.
It portrays a metal needle, and you bite on it, and you experience it as real. Or you touch the wall, and it feels real. But that is a remarkable phenomenon that our mind, or the larger mind, does. It creates a reality that we take for real, and that where we interact.
It makes you feel it.
Yeah, you feel it, you smell it. You think the dream crocodile is real. You run. You would have a whole different experience if you knew, oh gosh, this is a dream, in a lucid dream. But so that is one of the remarkable things of what a dream does. And if you pull it a little further, you could even say, at night we're in a world that we take for real and we find very important, and then we wake up and we're in another world that we find very real and we live in, and then we go to bed and we're again in a dream world. So we constantly move through these worlds that we take for real, and usually forget that there's other worlds coexisting to the world we're living in.
See, one of the other reasons I got fascinated with dreams was a traumatic 4-month period of my life where entity of some kind, people call it shadow people or whatever, attacked me. Like I would see it not in dreams. I would actually see it with my physical eyes awake at times. It was just later on towards the end of it that I'd start really seeing it. Maybe I was just losing my mind. But the worst part of it was every night I'd go to sleep almost. It was getting worse and worse as it went in. It almost started happening almost every night. This thing would come for me, take me out of my body, and go show me things. Like show me my band members together talking about kicking me out of the band to find out they actually had this meeting and we're at the place I dreamt at, and were kicking me out of the band.
Yeah.
Just like I dreamt. Or my girlfriend kissing this other guy in the parking lot at the movie theater she worked at. I saw the whole thing. I described what I saw, and she goes, "That is what happened."
Wow.
This thing was trying to torture me with showing me things and knowing my most inner secrets. It was a whole ordeal. I wrote it all out. It's in a book, Mike Ricksucker's Paranormal Encounters 2. I went through a whole ordeal with this, but the way this thing would, I know I wasn't physically there, but it would like take me out in this like dream state. But I would remember everything from it when I would wake up. When this was all said and done, it took me months to get back on a actual sleep more than a few hours a night. It drove me to the brink. I had a friend that was dealing with this thing too, and he always suffered from night terrors, but he's like, this is nothing like night terrors. This is way worse than my night terrors, and his night terrors would be awful as it was. We were both going through it at the same time. We both basically stuck our head into a hornet's nest of paranormal.
So
Yeah, go
sometimes
ahead.
these things I've seen and heard it more often, and they usually happen when a person is vulnerable. They have a heartbreak or a
Yeah.
trauma, and something in their energy field cracks open, and it allows to resonate on some figure that also resonates on a pain level
Yeah.
to connect, and they can do things like this that take us to other places, almost like a kind of an out of body experience that you describe.
If it wasn't for those things, one me and two other people having the same experiences at the same time, it wasn't for that and other people collaborating, the stuff that was showing me was really did happen. I would
Mm-hmm.
think it was just like the shadow self. It's all
Oh yeah,
metaphorical and
yeah,
it's
yeah,
some part of me because it knew everything about me. It knew
yeah,
everything about me.
yeah.
But the reason I do this show is just because it about drove me to brink and I had no one to talk to. I went to a psychologist and I felt like I couldn't tell him the details. I couldn't tell him what was really going on, or he's going to think I'm crazy.
Yeah.
I've gotten over that now. Many years later, I don't care what anybody thinks. I just
Yeah,
tell it.
and some therapists might not understand it, and other
Hmm.
therapists might. So you also need to feel out who does really get this. But it also sounds like it was really a call to start this work and find like-minded people with whom you could share.
And a belief in a higher power too, because I believe
Yeah.
that's what saved me. It really was a higher power. I'm spiritually agnostic. I believe in a higher power. I believe in an afterlife, but I believe it's all up to debate of what it is, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Yeah.
belong to any religious philosophy because of that.
Yeah.
But it definitely opened my eyes that there's a power when we go to sleep at night, and a vulnerability that kept me from sleeping for a long time, because of that. But I've felt like there's so much in our dream world that we're tapping into something beyond ourselves every time we go to sleep at night.
I completely agree, and of course that's also somewhat the premise of the book I wrote. That at night, anytime you can tap into the mystery for support and guidance, but the dream time is just a very fertile time where you can ask for support and guidance on anything that's relevant to your life. And yeah, if you have nightmares, you could ask what could I learn from this nightmare, so that you pick up on the message, or what is it that I can do to how can I best engage with this nightmare? All kinds of questions that can help a person, or when you're stuck with night terrors or with these experiences, the illicit of the help that is there can help us get grounded again and live a fulfilling life while still maintaining a sense of a contact with the other side as well.
Even if you're not contacting the other side, just getting to know your inner self more, it's got to be greatly beneficial. I mean, I think that's a big problem with people now psychologically, is we're so concerned on the outside of ourselves and the presence and the facade that we put out there around everybody that we don't look deeply within. That's why I've always enjoyed the Eastern practices and meditation and looking within. Who are we? Why am I the way
Yeah.
I am? Why am I wired the way I am? Why do I think this? Why do I feel this? Like question what's going on up here. Most people are just going along with this continuous stream of thoughts that they don't ever question.
Yeah. No, and dream work is portrays the inner landscape in a great way of almost like a psychological X-ray. What's really going on inside of me, and because it's also moving somewhere, you can see. Oh, I have these characters. Like if I can align myself this with this character or this direction, and then we get into the flow of life, and life becomes more colorful, more purposeful, more meaningful, more interesting. Becomes an adventure.
Dreams are an adventure. Sometimes they can be quite fun. I've had dreams where I'm like a special agent. Like I've had
Yeah.
really adventure dreams. Like, oh yeah, I read too much James Bond novels or something. But I'm saying, like, I've had great dreams. That are like, wow, I wish I could go back and live that again. It's like if they could make a machine that could put you in a dream world and just live. It would. Everybody be lining up to do it. I've had lucid dreams.
Yeah, yeah,
Or not many, but I've had some, and those are crazily incredible. I mean, like you feel like you've entered a whole new world when you have a lucid dream because you're so aware of it. But it's so hard to hang on to.
Yeah, it is hard to get lucid. It's hard to stay lucid, and yet at the same time, once you are, it's often a mind blowing experience, and you're in this other world, this dream world, knowing that you're in a dream, and you can then engage with either the figures in your dream. You could ask them, "Who are you? What brings you here?" Or you can ask I yelled once out, "Is there anyone with a message for me?" And then I had my youth hero Johan Cruyff, a soccer player, fly to me and took me on to show me things. Or you can ask for a concept, like a while ago I asked, "I would love to experience unconditional love," and I was sapped in a state of unconditional love, and it lasts for a minute and then it evaporates. And this requires no special ability or so. Anyone that becomes lucid can do these things. You can do an experiment, ask for healing,
They
whatever
even
you
make
want
those.
to
They
do.
make those machines. Have you seen those where they it goes over
Hmm.
your eyes and it's supposed to like
Yeah,
tell when you're in that state by your eye movements,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
like try to like flash some lights to try to like get you to wake up. Have you ever experimented with those? I don't. Do they work?
I I don't know how well they work, but the things
Yeah.
that usually people they either do things before they go to bed, like they look at their hands and they say, if I look at
Yeah.
if I see my hands in my dream, I know that I'm dreaming. If and they repeat it for minutes on end. Or you do an what's called a reality check during the day. So like now, I would ask myself, am I in a dream? And instead of immediately saying, I'm not dreaming, I need to check this. So if I can press through my hand, I'm in a dream. No, I can't. Okay. So then I call this dense reality for the ease of describing it. But you do that often enough. There comes a time that you're in your dream and you do a reality check. You push your finger through your hand. You go like, oh my gosh,
Yep.
I'm in a
Dreaming.
dream. Yeah.
It's like pinching yourself. We got Corey here. How common is it to have lucid dreams? I'm starting to have a lot of them.
Oh,
Sounds like they're.
fantastic, Corey.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for you. Um, yeah, about 10-20% of the people report to have once in a while a lucid dream. It's a lucid dream is just a dream in which you know that you're dreaming. It's a level of consciousness in the dream state,
It's amazing.
and it really opens up for, of course, for fun, but especially personal development. You can engage with the dream characters, ask them questions, who they are, if they have a message for you. Think about things you want to experience, and then
You,
yeah.
you know what I've had happen, like on a random lucid dream, not me trying, but I realize in the dream I'm dreaming. The first thing I always end up doing, I'm gonna fly.
Hmm.
I do that every time, almost every time. I take off to fly because it's such like you really feel it.
It's a fantastic experience, and what you then also can see is there are many that actually your mindset is what makes you fly.
Yeah.
If you believe and know you can fly, and you can fly like this, and you can just
Mine's always like a whirlwind. Sometimes before I realize I'm dreaming, I might be flying in the dream, and it's like I have this whirlwind effect, like I'm trying to like control it, and I'm like
yeah.
whirling around. I had one where I have a reoccurring kind of dream. Like it'll change, but it always
Hmm.
starts off in an abandoned mall, and there's a woman that looks like she's dressed in like a 1950s like light green, like she's got like a hat. She's a black woman and she's got like a light green coat on. She always has this kind of disappointed look on her face. I've come to learn that she's probably my spirit guide. But she's had I've been in this where I'm flying through the mall. Like I go from the flying dream and it's like she pulls me into this mall. She's sitting on this bench, it's totally empty, and then she tries to tell me something. I never can remember what it is. And at one time it was I don't know. One time she showed me a past life where she basically revealed her relationship to me, where I was a little black girl and I was her. I was like, my mind. I am me, but I was her. It's
Hmm.
weird. I don't know how to describe it.
Hmm.
I was really her, and she was my mother. And I'm beaten to death by my biological father, who's like the slave master.
Hmm.
He beats me to death with this broom handle, and I felt every blow. I woke up from that dream sweating. Awful, but awful. But it was like her way of showing me this is our connection. Because I would ask, like, why do I have this dreams about this woman in this mall and what she's trying to tell me? And one of the times it was that dream. And I believe it's a past life. I really do.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's of course super interesting, and that those things are possible once you get lucid. You can ask these dream characters, how are we connected? What do you have to tell me? And how does this still play out? And how can we work better together in this life? And how do I recognize you when you're around when I'm awake?
It answered a lot of questions. It's a lot of
Mm.
personal stuff. But like
Mhm.
my real biological father left when I was 2. Didn't want to have anything to do with me.
Mm.
But in this dream, it's somehow like she's like everything's telepathic. There's no words. She's never
Yeah.
talked to me. It's all
Mhm.
thought and image. It was given to me that was my father in that life too,
Ah.
and that he keeps his distance from me in this life because of that guilt still from the previous life.
Wow.
You know,
Interesting. Yeah.
yeah. The
Yeah.
other past life I dream I had really explains my views on religion and religious organizations and government authority, because I was a Buddhist monk who basically turned in my temple leader for being a fraud for smoking opium, and I was killed by the soldiers I reported him to. And they
Ah.
killed everybody in the temple. They killed me, and I woke up with the last second of being shot in the chest and waking up, grabbing my chest like this and
Ugh.
covered in sweat. Those are the dreams like you have, like you see, you wake up from them, that they're not going away. That
Yeah.
dream's never
Yeah.
gone away. I still
Yeah.
feel the gunshot wound. I swear. It's just weird. It's like when certain dreams are something else because there's no the memory just it haunts you for days, weeks, months, years.
Yeah. Yeah. The intensity of those dreams are really what solidifies them in memory. Huh? But
Yeah.
it's so great to get this insight in previous lives and how it pertains to this life, so that you can live this life with more understanding and what maybe your tasks are, and which issues to solve or to engage with, and lucid dreams can help people with that. You could ask in the lucid dream, I would like to see a previous life that's relevant to me, for me to know right now. Always try to make it relevant in the
That
here
would
and
be
now.
interesting. That would be interesting. Like, yeah, if you have an issue, because I've had guests on that really believe your past lives affect this life with health and mental health, but even physical health. And I have one, Debbie Anderson, her husband Chris Lee does this past life regression that he says will actually eliminate ailments that you have. And I've done it, and it's interesting. But he hypnotizes you, and you like you say, your hands hurt. For me, it was my finger joints always hurting,
Mhm.
and I found out I was a female person witch that had her hands smashed while she was in jail. And my neck issues were for me hanging myself in jail, committing suicide. I don't know if that's real or if that's my subconscious is making it
Mhm.
up to just, whatever. And he says, doesn't matter if you think it's real or not, it'll help. And it did help with the finger joint pain, but
Oh.
did not help so much with the neck. I still have issues with that. And Chris says I
Ah.
need to do another session.
Hmm.
But it's interesting
Yeah.
that even if it's not a past life, that people could have this vision, guided vision, or whatever. I mean, your imagination's making it up, and then suddenly it eliminates the pain or ailment you had. That's how
Yeah.
the brain could work.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fascinating, and dreams from the old days have been seen as one of the main ways for healing. In the Asclepian tradition in Greece, which is the source of our medicinal tradition, dream healing was at the core of it, both for finding an diagnosis, but also the cure. From how do I and sometimes dreams would cure a person, and they would also go through this whole process of asking the questions, rituals, usually walk for days to the temple, bathe, fast, dance, sing, sleep in the temple, and then
like a vision
sometimes
quest.
yeah, it's very close to a vision quest. Yeah.
Yeah. What was, I'm trying to remember. I just had a great question to this. Darn it. It left me. Um, with the dreams like this, what people are having, there's a lot of, like I said, collective unconsciousness that could be happening. It could be subconscious. Either way, you can use this basically, as I'm understanding, to ask anything about yourself that you could, I guess, change your life, change your perspective, or try to get to understand why you're thinking the way you are. It seems like you can psychoanalyze yourself with your dreams.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you could ask a question to your dream like, please show me what's going on inside of me, and then you see better what is going on, or please show me something I don't see about the situation, or what would it look like for me to date this person, take this job, or move to this city. And dreams are it's almost like the rose seed becomes a rose and the acorn becomes the oak. The human becomes a human, and it's pre-configured in your dream. Your dreams are imaginal. It's an imaginal stream of where your own soul is flowing towards. And by studying your dreams, you get a really great insight in what plays out inside of yourself, just underneath your regular awareness. And of course, there are multiple ways to do that, but dreams is a really great way to get insight in that.
What about people who have like a reoccurring dream? Like they just keep having the same dream. What is the significance, or what should they do in that situation?
It's recurring dreams. It's your own soul or psyche knocking on the door with somewhat the same story. So there's somewhat in that recurring dream that you haven't picked up on. There's a message in it that the dreamer hasn't completely understood. The moment that the person understands the dream, the dream disappears, and and it could be like when I feel stuck in life, I very often feel that I dream about being locked up in jail.
Mm-hmm.
It's similar theme every
Yeah.
time I feel stuck, and I'm just ongoingly trying to learn. Oh, okay, if I feel stuck, how can I not feel like I'm in a jail, but ask myself some questions: Is am I really stuck? Is this because I dramatize it a little bit in my day-to-day life, and so that's a dream that repeats itself in my life, and I know the moment that I really solve it, that dream will disappear because then the theme is no longer active in me.
The one I have that, I mean, I haven't had a long time. There's two. The worst ones I hate is there's one where I'm on this beach. It's like it's just turned nighttime, and everybody I know is on this beach that I love and care about. And there's this huge typhoon wave coming at everybody, and there's no hope of escape, and it's the worst. I hate that dream. Haven't had that one in a long time. But the one I still get recurring is the teeth falling out. I hate that damn dream so much. What is that? I mean, like, I've heard interpretations. Nothing's ended that from happening. Like, I will have that at certain times in my life. I hate it. I probably had one like probably 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Well, I would dare ask, what is the experience in the dream? Is there a certain context when it happens? How do you respond to your teeth falling out?
Panic and oh my god, like I mean, just taking more teeth out, or sometimes they just all break apart in my mouth, and I'm spitting out the pieces. It's awful, awful, awful. I hate it so much. When I wake up from it, I'm just like, oh, my skin just crawls from it.
Well, you could check in your day-to-day life what might be going on. There's usually it's a very common dream theme. It's among the
it's got to be the tops.
It's in the top 12.
I always thought it could be just from the trauma from your childhood, of losing teeth.
Yeah, it could be. It could also be, and therefore you want to look in your day-to-day life to see what plays out. Do I feel that I don't present myself well, like your persona Is there something like the thief sometimes have to do with that? Other scenarios are sometimes that people don't express themselves well, or they have anger that they don't express well, and then
That would
you
make a
sort of-
lot of sense for me. Yep. Right there. Yeah. Yeah, probably is when it happens, is when I'm not speaking out and I'm angry about something. And I
yeah.
just stay quiet, which is my usual go-to.
Yeah, no, then you know. Oh gosh, it's time for me to at least in a small way try to share my feelings about this, or find ways to express yourself or deal with this. Am I angry or sad? It's so many variations that can happen in your day-to-day life, but then you can follow up on that dream and see it as a help. Even a dream like that is helpful signal. Like, hey, make sure you speak up or do something about the unexpressed anger.
But yeah, I mean, it's fascinating when you talk about dreams, how much they've probably, people's dreams have affected the world. I mean, look
Yeah.
at the Bible. I
Mhm.
mean, how many dreams, I mean, they would call them visions, I guess, for some, but I mean, some of them are Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat. I mean,
Yeah.
like, dreams are very big in the Bible, they're very,
Yeah.
and in other religions and cultures too. They've sent men on missions, or women or whoever, they've changed people's lives.
Yeah, totally. And any spiritual tradition has dreams in there that changed a person's life, and these days as well, many artists will find
Oh yeah.
inspiration in their dream. The song "Yesterday" from the Beatles,
Paul
that,
McCartney, yeah.
yeah, came to Paul McCartney in a dream and became the most played song in American history ever. Nobel Prizes were won in dreams. Gandhi started his idea of the hunger strike based on a dream. Oil fields were found in dreams, so even the business world has inventions that came from dreams. So dreams are helping
Shaping the
people,
world.
shaping the world. Yeah.
Didn't a dream start this for you, Jason?
Yeah,
With
yeah, that's
Steve
totally
and
right. You are totally right. You are right. It did. You got to be right. Yes, she is totally right because months and months and months before I started this show, and we got to go to commercial. I'll tell you when we come back. We got to go to commercial break. Thank you, Jamie. You're dead on right on that. A dream did start this show.
I'd love to hear, Jason.
Yeah,
Oh,
sorry. So I'll tell you when
yeah.
I come back because it is another dream that kind of predicted the future too because of the dream. But we got to go to commercial break and we'll open up the phone lines for you guys tonight. Call in, share. We're talking dreams tonight, guys. So let's call in about your dreams. Not that he's going to do a dream interpretation, but maybe I'm going to give you some guidance on how you can interpret your own dream when we come back from the short commercial break.
Conducting an experiment into the combined effects of sensory deprivation and hallucinatory drugs. The subject of the experiment is himself, and the experiment is out of control. Ken Russell's Altered States, a film that must not be missed, is in the West End now. Altered States, Certificate X.
Do you wish for more paranormal and spiritual content? The Paranormal Chronicles magazine is a free digital magazine crammed with the very best in paranormal and spiritual articles and features. No sign-up, no subscription, just free reading and knowledge for you. Read today at www.paranormalchronicles.com/magazine.
Oh, come on. I'm Southern, but
Nope. That'll do. Hello. I am Kat Hobson, host of Paranormal Experience here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. I enjoy having guests from all areas of the paranormal, from ghosts to ufology to cryptids and beyond. You'll find some of the best researchers in their fields bringing you some great information. Join me on Wednesday nights from 8 to 10 p. Eastern here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Join us every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time for Weird Wednesday, the live stream, with your hosts Jamie, the Living Dead Girl, and Rob, the Phantom, where we'll talk about all things paranormal, including zodiac, astrology, tarot card and oracle card readings, live ghost boxing and spirit communication, where we'll do Voices from Beyond, the Cold Case Files. So we hope you join us live on Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time. We hope to see you there. Bye-bye.
Paranation Magazine is a new paranormal magazine based out of Denver, Colorado. Our goal isn't just to give you the best paranormal content out there, but to promote paranormal unity. We're doing this by giving everyone an opportunity to tell their stories and to share their experiences. For more information, follow us on Facebook at Paranation Magazine and soon, paranationmag.com.
I've Never Met a Dead Person I Didn't Like is the extraordinary travels of a young, alone, and broke psychic in the highly anticipated new book from internationally renowned psychic, medium, medical intuitive, and best-selling author Sherry Dillard. Critics have described I've Never Met a Dead Person I Didn't Like as an engrossing memoir, an empowering story of how a broken girl came to accept her psychic gift, a refreshing and fun read. I've Never Met a Dead Person I Didn't Like is available through Amazon, Kindle, Barnes & Noble, and wherever books are sold.
Edgar Allan Poe wrote Spirits of the Dead with a pen dipped in warm blood. You will see the ultimate in terror with this important all-star cast. Brigitte Bardot, Alain Delon, Jane Fonda, Terence Stamp, and Peter Fonda in Edgar Allan Poe's Spirits of the Dead. Only Poe's demented genius could bring to the screen such horror and evil. Spirits of the Dead stars Brigitte Bardot, Alain Delon, Jane Fonda, Terence Stamp, and Peter Fonda. Directed by three masters of the cinema, Federico Fellini, Louis Malle, and Roger Vadim. Spirits of the Dead is an adventure in terror beyond your wildest nightmares. Spirits of the Dead in color is rated R.
The answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything is $42. Yes, I thought it over quite thoroughly. It is, it's 42. It would have been simpler, of course, to have known what the actual question was.
But it was the question. The ultimate question. Of everything.
That's not a question. Only when you know the question will you know what the answer means.
You're listening to Paranormal Soup, bringing you the weird every Sunday night. Call into the show and join the discussion. The call-in lines are 219-230-4444. or 260-225-9419. Or by Skype caller ID 00JBland00 or JBland Paranormal Soup. And now to your host, Jason Bland.
Tonight's guest, Machiel Klerk, is author of Dream Guidance, Connecting to the Soul Through Dream Incubation. And if you guys do this tonight, think of your question while we're doing this show. Like, what do you want to ask your dream tonight? I want you to do it. Do a ritual, like you said. Write it down. I'll have him go over the steps again before we leave with him tonight. Just to make sure you guys do it. You can email me. Tell me the results if you had a result at paranormalsoupjbland@gmail.com. That's paranormalsoup, J, the letter J, my last name, Bland, @gmail.com. Email me. Tell me what happened, what you saw. I'd like to know. You know, did it have an effect for you? I'd like to hear. I think dreams are fascinating. I love hearing other people, they tell me their strange dreams. A lot of times people don't talk about their dreams because they can be very personal too. I know there's many dreams I share on here, but there's many I don't because they're just a little too personal. It's your subconscious trying to talk to you, right? Or the collective unconscious. I want to hear from you tonight. Let me make sure the phone lines are open. Call in tonight. Talk to our guests. Join the conversation. But let's go ahead and get back on into it. All right, phone line should be open. Call in. If I hang up on you, it's because I got somebody else on the line, so just try calling back. Sometimes it hangs up on its own. I have to call you back, so just be prepared if I call you back. That's because it hung up on you. All right, back to our guests. Hi, I'm glad you're hanging with us. Now, Jamie brought up, yes, I didn't even think about this. This show was really started because of a dream. I months and months and months before I ever started learning how to set this stuff up and do this show, I'll admit I was a huge Art Bell fan. He, definitely influences this show big time. Late Art Bell. So I listened to a lot of talk radio, but the whole time I'd ever listened to it, I never thought I'd be doing a show. I was always into the pure, weird, strange, and unusual. I became a paranormal investigator, and I've had all these weird, crazy experiences throughout my life. But I never thought I would listen to Art Bell, and he's the friend in the night. He's my friend to listen to at night when I felt alone in these things and no one to talk to. I never thought I'd be doing this. Not at all. I was a musician, and I wanted to be a writer. I got into film, but I never thought of doing this at all. I wish I would have thought about it when I went to college and not gone for film and gone for broadcasting or something. I don't know, but I never would have thought of it. And one night, I had this dream where I was doing a live stream like this, and I could see myself on camera, and there was this bald guy there talking, and I'm interviewing. I'm really excited that I got him on my show. I'm doing a show. He's here. He's talking it, and we're going to talk to the spirits live. Like, I remember this stuff.
Huh.
It was weeks later, after having that dream, I ran across a well-known guy in the paranormal world, Steve Huff, and he's got his critics. I don't want to hear it. And he's got his fans, too. But I saw a video of him with this thing called the Spirit Box talking to the dead, and I'm like, man, that guy looks like the guy in my dream. And I kind of brushed it off, and I started getting this inkling, and I just kind of like brushed the dream aside. But I started getting after having that dream, I started like, what if you did do a podcast or a live show? I want to do live. Yeah, it was live in the dream. I want to do live. And I started putting all this together, and I also got interested in the Spirit Box stuff, and like we were going to do this live on the show. I became a part of the show. Eventually, I ended up having that interview with that guy, him on the show. That's how I met Jamie and Rob, really, is through the same community he was in, too. And it kind of all led up to that. And there I am having the same interview I dreamt about, him sitting there. So what came first, the chicken or the egg? I don't know, but it was destined.
It's a beautiful dream, and how great that you let yourself be inspired by dreams, because we all have dreams. It's not that one person is more favored by dreaming than other people. It's more like if you pay attention to it and listen to it and think, gosh, might this be something for me? I've not entertained this, but let me follow it and see where it takes and what the imagination does. Then it can help us really connect to who we are and what we're meant to do. So I'm love glad that this come from a dream.
Because I don't know. I mean, I guess it was always in me, the love to do this. Obviously, if it's predicting the future or not, it was definitely showing me something inside. Like, yeah, you could do this. You want to do this. I didn't realize until I had the dream, and I'm doing it in the dream, that I kind of want to do that. Yeah. And I started. It pushed me towards it. So yeah, we were talking about how as above, so below, that things are created we talk about this on the show all the time, how things are probably created in in another field of consciousness and then manifested here. It's what it is. I mean, and people are doing stuff from dreams all the time that they see and do, and then they start working towards it, towards life.
Yeah. Yeah, I started my company, the Jung Platform, based on a dream I had at night, and that keeps inspiring me to
What
build.
was the dream? Can you share, or is it?
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
in the dream I'm floating above the lake of Zurich, and Carl Jung has a house at that lake, and
Oh, wow.
I see that he has been building a platform, a square concrete platform attached to his yard in the lake. And he's working on it and rearranging some beams to make it more enjoyable. And then he sits there reading a book, and I see this all from this position from the sky, and I'm maybe 100 feet above the water. And then Jung and Jung and the platform disappear, and a voice behind me says, "Now you have to draw it, identical to how it was." And then I have in the dream a pencil, and I think I can draw, but make a line. It's more straight than I think I can do, and I wake up. And I took that as a suggestion to build a platform for Jung and Jungian psychology and post-Jungian psychology, and like Jung, taking into account all kinds of other worldly traditions. And initially, I built a non-profit, and then I built an educational online organization where we host all kinds of programs on Jung and shadow and synchronicity and all those famous Jungian
Yeah, he
concepts.
coined the term synchronicity, which is
Yeah.
during my shadow person experience, there was all these weird, strange synchronicities that would happen too. And we talk about that on the show all the time. And it's just why I always love, the little I do know of Carl Jung, is that he was fascinated and explored all these different realms of consciousness. I felt his peers at that time were, that's phooey,
Yeah.
he was
Yeah.
open to that so much, and just let's explore it. Let's explore what's going on here. It's rare for his time period for somebody to go that deep.
It was definitely rare, and he tried to bring it back to somewhat of a scientific in scientific language to fit the time. But if you scrape away that scientific language, you see that he says this unconscious is the land of the dead, where the ancestors live, and they are important for your calling. He comes up with these archetypes.
Archetypes.
Synchronicity, shadow, anima, animus, a way to cure
Collective
addiction.
unconscious.
Yeah,
I mean, so many of these terms we use now, we wouldn't have it if it wasn't for him.
Yeah, it's good. It's wild, but how ahead of the game he was for his Western tradition.
And now you got to pick up the pencil and continue, right? Build upon that.
I'm building a platform. Yeah, I'm building on it. And the
That's
platform is also attached to his yard, so I really see how I'm building on further on where this was. And
we got Zach on the line. Hold on, Zach. Oh, I had one guest on who was a medium who believed that one of the things that first opened him up to mediumship was, I forgot where he was. He was at some theater, or he was at somewhere, and some guy comes walking down the stairs, and it's Carl Jung. And tells him, "Yeah, you can see me, you can see others," and like talks talking about seeing the dead and be able to see the future and all this other stuff. And it was Carl Jung that introduced him to it, according to him. So maybe he's out there still influencing you and others, from the other side, the collective unconsciousness. I'd like to dream a little dream that he's around there, interested. All right, Zach, you're on the line. How you doing tonight, bud?
I'm doing pretty good, brother. Hey, Jamie, how's everybody doing?
Doing good.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share one dream that I did have a while ago, and I would just like to get Machiel's interpretation, really, and really how I should explore this dream a little bit more. So I would have to say I had this dream about a year ago. I had a dream that I was middle-aged. I was probably in my mid to late 50s. I was very financially well off. I was a homeowner, and based on the location I was at, it almost sounded like it was over in Lake Havasu City over in western Arizona. But another aspect that I saw is that I had two daughters, and in the dream, I got the names of the two daughters. They were both fully grown. They were in their early 20s. Um, the first daughter was like very independent, headstrong, kind of like me, when I'm in through my stubborn streak. But the second daughter, the youngest daughter, was very much like a daddy's girl. Like she and I had a very close bond. But another aspect about that is that the mother wasn't in the dream, and as many of you know, I just got out of a 10-year relationship. So really, I just would like an interpretation of that dream to see maybe if it was something maybe that's bound to happen in the future, or maybe that's where I maybe wanted to go, thinking along the lines of like Sigmund Freud's theory on dreams. Machiel, I just want to get just your interpretation.
Yeah, thanks for sharing the dream. And it sounds like it's really meaningful, and that you, a year after it, still remember it so well. One of the things I wonder first is, how old are you approximately right now? Because in the dream you say I'm in my mid 50s. Are you younger than that?
Yeah, so I'm 33 years old.
Yeah. Well, it could, if this is something that you would aspire towards, like having a house in that area, maybe having a family, then I think that it is something to work towards. And of course, the future is somewhat malleable, so there is free will. But maybe you could figure out, how do I put myself in a place that I can have a house when in my mid 50s, that is mine, and what do I need to do right now to build up to that, and how do I, and if you want a family, what, you could even ask your dream, what can I do to make myself, to find a great partner to start a family, or something to that extent. I don't think that if you do nothing, that it for sure will work out. I think if this is something you want, this might be a potential for you in the future, and that it is best then to have some active steps to work towards that. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes, no, that definitely does. That definitely does make sense, and it's one of the few dreams that I still remember, and it made me very happy whenever I had that dream, because of course I don't have any children personally yet, at least none that I'm aware of. But also, but also, because I saw these two daughters and all that, and of course they're very beautiful. Well, of course, they be the seed of my loins, so absolutely they have great genes. They're very beautiful. So I definitely will look more into that. And I apologize, my friend. How do you pronounce your name? I just want to make sure that I'm pronouncing it correctly.
In Dutch, it's Machiel. Most people say Machiel. I'm fine with whatever comes close. Right?
He's used to people butchering us Americans. We're
That's-
the kings of butchering names. Zach, too. I mean, it's like I didn't know I wanted to do a show until I had a dream of me doing the show. You didn't know you wanted children until you had a dream and you felt what it's like to be a dad. It's your subconscious telling you what you deep down want, sometimes that you're not paying attention to.
Yeah, or in the case of the other dream, actually, that about, Jason. You know which one I'm talking about, the one I've shared before. That one. But anyhow, all right. So thank you very much, Machiel, for answering my question. I do greatly appreciate it, and I love hearing everything that you're saying.
Thank you, and thanks for sharing the dream, and good luck with the realization of your dream.
All right, everybody, have a good night.
You too, Zach. One of the keys, because I think part of his question may be in them. Am I dreaming in the future? One of the ways I've found where I've paid attention to a dream, or I like, is this a future one? Is that in the dream I'll go, I've dreamt this before, because that's what happens. Like when I get to the point where it's actually happening, I'll go, I dreamt this before. Well, in the dream, when I'm dreaming of something in the future, usually that's what happens in the dream. I'll go, I've dreamt. It's exactly as it is as it happens, basically, most of the time. So I'll actually say to myself in the dream, I've dreamt this before. And if I wake up and I remember that, that's when I like write it down and know, okay, this could be something that's going to happen in the future, because it's that key word I'll say to myself in the dream. I've dreamt this before. But sometimes it's like I said, I think it is your subconscious just showing you what you deep down want, because I think a lot of people don't face that.
Well, and I think also in this line of what happens in 20 years is less fixed than what will happen tomorrow, because what will happen tomorrow is we're very close to the unfolding of life to get there.
Some things, though, I think are so destined, because I know this one, and my wife hates it when I tell this one, but me and my wife went to the same grade school. And I came up with her horrible nickname she had, which was Chipmunk. And when she found out it was me that came up with that nickname after we were married, she said, I would have never married you. But I think the reason I came up with the name and I helped make fun of her a little bit is because I had this really weird dream in like 6th grade, 5th grade, where we were very intimate beyond my 5th, 6th grader knowledge of what intimacy was. In this dream, it was me and her grown up doing it. And it's messed up. She hates me talking about it. But I dreamt that. And we didn't really we weren't friends then. We were grade school together. It was very odd. I remember going into class and seeing her sitting at a desk and going, I don't know what to think about this. I don't, was really weird. And and then to end up being out of we went to the same high school, never talked to each other. But it was I was like 20, 21 whenever we started dating. That all ended up happening. In a sense, we got kids. Obviously, it happened, but how much is roads chosen, and how much is you're on this road no matter what you are. There are certain things you are going to do or go for. I mean, I could have messed it up in the one dream. I messed it up and we broke up. But it warned me. It stopped me from doing that. So it's like there's always something that's trying to guide us down a certain road. It seems like
it can be that it's that the potential is very high. That these things, or that it is very very likely to happen. And my take is that the future is just there's so much free will, and the further we get into the future, the more free will might have happened in the meantime.
Yeah, it's something that's perplexed me, the idea of time and how it works and free will. I believe in free will. I believe the future is emotion, but there does seem like there's certain things that are predestined. I saw my son, my youngest son, Liam, I saw him not in a dream, but in sitting in my parents' living room. I was getting ready to move in with my wife for the first time right before we got married. And I saw a translucent boy walk through my living room right up to me. And I felt this immense love, like the deepest love, compassion you could ever feel. I was not scared. Even my parents' house isn't haunted, but I'm seeing this like what people would say would be a ghost, but it didn't scare me at all. It's like I knew this boy that's smiling at me, and it didn't scare me at all. And then he just vanished. And how many years later, here's this little baby being born, and as soon as they put him up to my wife, and he smiled at me. He actually smiled. I got a picture of it. I knew right then that smile, that boy that they're holding there, my youngest son, was that kid I saw in my living room. And he told my wife when he was like 3 that he chose us.
Yeah, remarkable. Yeah, and then I think that is it's on its path to manifest. And unless people make decisions that cannot happen, it will play out that way.
I always thought the saddest thing, dream-wise, of the future being predicted was Abraham Lincoln. I don't know if you're familiar with our history.
Yeah, he dreamt about being shot, huh?
Yeah. I mean, he dreamt of the funeral and everything. It seemed like he knew. He knew his time was coming up.
Yeah.
That would be horrible, I would think, to dream of your own death. I mean, a lot of times hopefully it's just symbolic, your subconscious trying to tell you something. I've had dreams of my own death, none of them come true. But he dreamt it. He and it happened. That just seems, I don't know, sad. Just real sad.
Yeah, and maybe it could have been avoided, or maybe not. Who knows? Those
Or
things
maybe it was
are.
shown it because it couldn't be avoided. Like it was
That's
just a
also
preparation.
possible. That's also possible. Yeah, it's hard to say those things, especially because the past is fixed that way.
Yeah, but it's something that was in the ether. His brain picked up. I mean, imagine
Yeah.
if he wasn't assassinated, how it did prompt things to happen a certain way in this country and idolize him to an extent. It's the martyr effect a little bit,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
that all came out of the dream world into his
Yeah.
head, and it
Yeah.
happened, and it
Yeah.
majorly impacted this country and the world in a sense.
Yeah. But it also shows that for most people will get a heads up when death is coming, and prepare us. And
It seems like some people do. It does. I mean, we've had stories on here about children that have those are the ones that break my heart. It's so hard for me to cover these stories, but when like a child
Yeah.
it was these two girls that were murdered by their father, and they had
Ugh.
told their mother that they were going to die. That like I can't remember what the case was, but that was just heartbreaking and from a dream. Like
Yeah.
for children to understand that is crazy. I mean, my 6-year-old creeps me out all the time. He just said today, he goes, "Why are we alive?" Just today, he says, "Why are we alive?" Deep Thoughts by Liam. I'm like, that's the mystery of the universe, buddy. 42. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell him. I said, "Why are we alive?" I'm like, people have been asking that question for thousands of years. But here he is, 6 years old, asking it. I mean, he's it's
Fantastic.
interesting. Yeah, I as a parent, I've always been in the habit. You could ask my sons when we wake up in the morning. I'm like, "Do you have good dreams?"
Hmm.
I always check in on them. I don't know. It's just something I've
Mhm.
always done, and they'll be like, "Yeah" or "No," and I'm like, "Oh, what happened?" And I have them talk to me about it. I always just started that habit with them to try to get them to kind of like recognize their dreams. Because I thought if somebody would have done that with me as a kid, I would maybe have more insight, or maybe there's things I would dream I would remember later. But if I would have had more knowledge about how important dreams are as a kid,
Ah.
you know, so I just try to get them to recognize what's kind of happening, or just it's also for me to kind of pay attention to what's going on with them.
A beautiful habit, and I wish more people did that, just to check in, and even or even with their partner. What did you dream? It's such a
Oh, I got a good one on that.
Yeah,
You
you
shared
too,
dream.
Jamie.
Oh yeah, Jamie too. A shared dream experience.
Oh, yes.
Me and my wife have had several of these.
Ah.
There was one where I was dreaming I was at this party and all this
Mhm.
stuff was going on, and she was there. And I tell her, I said, "Oh, I had this weird dream," and I
Yeah.
describe a couple of the people that were at this party. She goes, "That was a real party, and I dreamt about that last night. I was at that party, but I was reliving that dream last night from that party. The party I was never at, but
Really?
I'm dreaming it with her."
Oh, that's so wild, that you can
Yeah.
have this. But it speaks to this notion of the collective unconscious
Yeah.
from Carl Jung. You have this shared layer where you can meet each other in the dream space.
Or we're all, one of the things we've talked about on the show is like how the brilliant minds of like Tesla and Einstein and inventors inventing the same thing around the same time, like we're pulling
Yeah.
technology and information and human evolution from the dream world
Yeah.
or from the collective unconsciousness.
Yeah.
That there's some layer of like all knowledge, all technological knowledge, the stuff that Einstein, Tesla, Edison, all these guys came up with. That stuff's all out there to grab. The future technology even is out there to grab from the collective unconscious. It's all there.
Yeah, and dreams is a great way to tap into that unconscious for our own lives, whether it is writing a book or growing a business or becoming a more loving person or whatever.
The
It's
answer
it,
to the universe.
you
I
can
swear
yeah.
I've had one of those dreams where I was given like the answer. 42, no, but I was given the answer or something like how gravity works or something like that. I am not a smart person. I'm not a physicist. I don't know. But in this dream, like I understood all this. Like not like mathematical equations, but it's like I understood the structure of the universe, and it's like I'm trying to hold on to it as like I wake up and it's gone. Like I had the answer. 42. I don't know. Jamie, you had a shared dream experience?
Yeah, I've had a couple. I was actually going to bring up the same thing. I think it's a great way just to check in when you do talk about your dreams, and then you find out from people things will sync up. And that's a way that my mom and I had found, we kind of had a shared visitation dream with my dad and other things like that. So I think checking in is great.
Yeah, checking in is great, and it's also you really get a sense of what the other person, their interior life is about, and it's also a very vulnerable act to share the dreams that you have at night, and that vulnerability also helps. Yeah, it's very personal, and that personal vulnerable element helps a person connect or a couple connect with each other.
Yeah, my wife is the only one that I'll like tell her anything. Like I've told her all my stuff, I'm like and the stupid dreams I was like, why'd you tell me that? Like stuff I wouldn't tell anybody else. But it is crazy when you do have this shared dream experience. It makes you feel like you're a part of something so much greater because we're all part of this collective. As Jung called it, a collective unconsciousness or God or the soul or whatever it is, it makes you feel for a moment when you're in that realization that you're more than this body. There's something you're going to at least go to afterwards that you're going to be a part of. One of the things too that I find fascinating too when we're talking about all the dreams and the higher conscious or collective unconsciousness is the fact that people have dreamt like technology, like seriously, like dreamed like an invention, like something super technical. The brain like works it out in the dream state, and they come back out like boom and do it. Like the brain in that level can work at some kind of higher function. It can't work on a daily level with, like some super brain.
Yeah, many inventions come from dreams, whether it's technology or in biology or music or art. It's the real genius lives in the other world, and we tap into it. And the dream is just a variation of the other world.
I've had dreams where I'm writing songs in the dream when I used to be a musician. And I actually wrote some songs that really did. I'd just sit there and try to figure out what was I dreaming, I'd wake up with a guitar and try to do it. And there were some. One of the ones, what's weird is that I'd get the music and the feel, and I'd play out the song, and then I just let the lyrics just go out. I call it speaking in tongues, what my bandmates would call it, because I just start singing, making up lyrics to mean nothing. I write them down, we'd record them, like, did you say, okay, yeah, that sounded good, and we'll change it up. And then I'd read the lyrics a year or two later, and like, that was predictive.
Huh. Interesting.
Like, and if I look at it, this is kind of predictive, like what I was writing, it's just weird. Just stuff that comes out of that unconscious artistic creative sense. You're tapping into something beyond you, which is fascinating.
And the wild thing is, every night we enter into that world that is deeply creative and has a lot of support and imagination, and by building a conscious relationship with it, we will start living more enjoyably.
Now, what are some of the best ways for people to learn? Because I've had a guest on here all on dream interpretation.
Yeah.
How do you know if it's a dream or an out of body experience? That's a good question too, from Joanne. I shall get to her question.
Yeah, an out of body experience is usually that it looks very close to this reality that we're in right now. So if you would laying in bed and you come out of your body, you would still see your room, and you can maybe you can step through the wall, because that is possible in these out of body experiences, and you can fly around. But it still mimics this reality very closely, and a dream could be almost anything. We dream about being in Vietnam or whatever we dream,
And dreams, like you get introduced to something, like it's like a train of thought too in a dream. It seems like when it's a dream, like you'll be introduced to something that takes you on a whole new thought paths, and you're suddenly in a new location and new things are happening, and without any context of change.
Yeah, and a dream is much more and the manifestation of your thoughts and beliefs and expectations and emotions in this world, in this world, and the out of body experience is you're really just more or less in this world, slightly different.
Yeah,
But,
if you have an
very
out of body
close to it.
experience, I have. It's not. It's definitely not like a dream. It's
It's
not
not
like
a
your
dream.
normal dream. No. It's it. It's weird experience. You ever seen the movie What Dreams May Come
No.
of Robin Williams?
Yeah,
It's
I
about the
know of
afterlife.
it, but yeah,
Yeah, you
yeah.
should. In that is reason I bring it up is in that concept of that movie in the afterlife is that you create your own reality. Like Robin Williams puts himself when he dies, his character into a painting. Like everything, the flowers, the life, everything around him is like a
Mhm.
painting because that's from his unconscious basically and the afterlife creating it, creating his reality. I've always wondered if whatever we are on the other side, whatever we are beyond this physical body, um, that like it's like a dream, whatever that existence is, where whatever thought you have takes you to there or to here or creates this or does that, that in a way having a body or coming here and having this existence, it's like a filter to keep you from constantly being all over the place. You know what I'm saying? From having constant creation, put you in a solid state of linear time to kind of, I don't know, discover yourself. I get like a filter to keep you from hurting yourself in a sense. Like I was saying, because in that movie, his wife also dies. She commits suicide after his death, and she's in her own personal hell.
Yeah.
She created.
Well,
So the mind can create a beautiful place, or it could create a hell. Was the kind of the concept. The soul,
Well,
I guess, not the mind.
you especially through lucid dreams, but you can see in a dream is the creation of your own belief system, thoughts, emotions, intention, expectation, and then a mystery factor X. Something else co-creates this dream world you're in. So if I'm in my dream in this state of where I feel stuck, then my feelings and emotions portray themselves as being in a prison, and some of my thoughts take on the form and shape of figures or characters. That's also where a lot of this dream interpretation comes from. Let's say I'm in a dream and I feel, oh gosh, I'm messing up. Then a dream character might step in. That is my previous boss. You would ask me, what do you associate to your previous boss? Oh, he was very critical. So you can see criticalness takes on the form and shape of my previous boss. And so your own emotions and feelings take on the form and shape of whatever it is in your dream. So to a certain extent, we co-create our own reality. And if you push this a little further, you see that a lot of this reality is created in the same way.
Yeah.
What we see is filled in by our own beliefs and
It's your
expectations and
perception.
focus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
and
can. A dream can help you wake up to your own perceived perceptions, or your
yeah,
own
yeah,
what
yeah.
do you want to call it? Maybe incorrect beliefs, or it might be able to wake you up to that. We got a special power here. Has a question. Can you ask about dreams within a dream, like Inception? Like, have you ever seen Inception? It's like, where they go into people's dreams and they keep going down deeper into the dream.
Well, I'm not sure if what you especially mean a special power, but what I've seen is that people in the dream wake up from being in a dream, or they go to bed and have a dream, and then they continue to dream. Uh, or sometimes people even wake up and then they're still in the dream, and
Yeah.
it's what's called a false awakening. And then they
Yeah.
wake up and go, "Oh my gosh, I thought that I was already on my way for the day, but here I am."
Oh, I've done that. I think a lot of people have done that. Like, I already worked today, damn it. Like, well, that's the worst feeling, especially when you dream about work. It's like, I didn't get paid for that.
Yeah, you did it.
Now I gotta go do it again.
Yeah.
But the dream within a dream. Me and my kids were watching some movie. I don't forget what it was, and somebody has like the nightmare, and then they think they're awake, and next thing you know, it's a jump scare, and they're still in the dream, and then they wake up again, and then it happens like like can't get out of the dream. And my kids go like, "Oh, I hate that when that happens." Both my sons said that, so it's like, oh god, they've had that experience already.
Yeah,
That
what
false
actually,
awake.
yeah, what actually happens there is your expectation that you wake up creates the next level in the dream. So your expectation drives the next scene of waking up, but you're not yet literally woken up. It's just your expectation that does that. So there you see how expectation creates a world, and
That's something that's fascinating about the idea of dreams and maybe the correlation to what the afterlife is for people, because
Mhm.
you get near death experiences that are similar in concept, but they're all personal.
Yeah,
Some people
yeah,
meet Buddha, some people meet Jesus, some
yeah,
people are in a field of lovely grass, some people are in hell.
yeah.
It's their perception. It's not that they didn't die or didn't go to somewhere else. It's just that it's formed by their perception and expectation.
It's that their own mind co-creates together with something else.
Yeah, you should see What
Co-creates that.
Dreams May Come. You should see that's a classic. That's basically the concept of the afterlife in that whole movie
Yeah.
that I fell in love with, because that's to me the closest to my idea what maybe the afterlife is. Is dreams.
And dreams and the afterlife are in that way very similar.
Yeah, and for somebody, hell would be not realizing you're in the dream, and for those in heaven is being lucid enough to control and make the dream what you want.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought it was kind of interesting the way that dreams could kind of blend into reality almost. Like once you experience something in reality, you have a memory. You can't really go back to it. You have a picture, you have a mental memory.
Mm-hmm.
And in your dream, it's the same thing when you wake up. And if you have all these experiences throughout your day, sometimes like with myself, I have to almost do a check like, wait, was this part of a life experience or was this a dream? Because it all just becomes a memory later. It's the same pocket, it feels like.
Right. Well, it's like my cousin Phil. I saw a green floating head, just make sure he story, when we were 5. Me and him both saw it, but he wrote it off as a dream until but it never left me. And I said, that was not a dream, buddy. That really happened. So the perception between memory and dream can really blend together.
Well, it's a great point, and technically, when in this reality, we only have memory of the dream. So you also, when you do dream work, you don't truly work on the dream, you work on the memory.
Yeah, you're
And
trying to undig the fossil. What happened? Basically, it's that's the hardest part, I think. For me is just trying to remember it. Even it right away when I wake up. Some of it's like it seems like there's so much, but it's like I'm losing it so quickly.
yeah, pencil and paper next to your bed. There's no other option. And
Yeah.
sometimes lay in bed and wait a minute and repeat the dream 1, 2, 3 times to yourself so that it gets stored in your short-term/long-term memory. That's how you get around that problem that a lot of people have.
Sometimes I remember it because it feels like I wake up and the dream's still kind of like running in another part of my brain. I don't know how to describe it. Like the thought train is still there happening. Like I'm like partially awake. It's weird. It's like a strain of thought that hasn't shut down yet from the dream.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what it was with the needle and the biting into the metal. That just would not go away.
Yeah,
Like-
They're really stuck with you, huh?
When I have those type, I can't remember it. I'll know I had like a whole experience, but I'll get stuck on the same thing when I wake up because I'll try to remember. And then sometimes, depending what I woke up to, like what made me that startled kind of boom and you're awake feeling. And then it's almost like you don't know what realm you're in and you're kind of still going through it. I can't remember what just happened because I get stuck on that boom.
Yeah, we have all those experiences, and because your memory doesn't work well when you're dreaming if you don't if we don't write it down when we wake up, because whether it's whatever happens, they're gone usually.
Sometimes though, like I'll forget a dream when I wake up, but then something later that day or a week
Yeah,
later
yeah.
will
Triggers it to
happen,
come
and
back, huh?
it comes back to me. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh my god, like how did I forget that?
yeah.
That's a weird experience in itself. It's like, how can that be in my storage here in my brain, but completely forgotten? But one thing brings it out, and I relive it in that second. Like, oh my
Yeah,
god, I dreamt all
it's
that.
it's weird how memory works. It is then stored in memory, and something triggers a memory. But we have so many memories throughout the day. That's strange. Why do I think about this? Oh, I know this song. I have this smell, and this comes back.
Yeah, usually it's a nightmare. Those are the ones
Mm,
that come back.
mm.
Like it's like you purposely forget them, but then something triggers it and it comes back.
Ah.
What do you think is the purpose of the nightmare? Like the real scary dreams that people have. What do you think? I
Nightmare.
mean, what is their purpose of that
Yeah,
for the
nightmares
conscious?
are anxiety dreams,
Hmm.
and they usually show up when there's too much or too little anxiety. Most of the cases, there's too much. We're too
I got a
afraid
lot.
that, yeah, we're too afraid. Oh, I'm failing at this job or whatever, and then we're back in school doing a test, and we can't find the classroom or whatever the nightmare is. But the nightmare has as a function to wake us up to the fact that we're usually too afraid for whatever it is in our life. We can figure out a different way to relate to it.
Yeah, I mean, I hate those ones where you're back in school. I hate those ones so much because wasn't a big fan of school, obviously. And so when I have those dreams of being back in school, I always wake up feeling a bit depressed, like, oh god.
Yeah,
Like it's not fun. Having a dream you're a kid is great, but being in school is like the worst. Like, why do I gotta be in school? What can I dream about when I was like playing with my cousins or doing something crazy? Like not being in school. That's the worst. you know. But it's never like a memory of actual like a time in school. It's like it could be like a whole new school, different people that I know are there that would never been in school with me. It's totally like my subconscious trying to tell me something. I know that,
Yeah,
at the time.
and one way that people can work with it is just ask themselves the question, what is the experience? And what is the experience of being in school? And then just write it out. And then you can
Like, what
see,
does it
oh,
mean to you?
yeah, instead of asking what does it mean, you ask what is my experience? Because what does it mean? You very quickly get into this notion of, oh, I need to figure out the symbols,
Yeah.
and when you ask for what is happening or what's the experience, you get to a different way of working with the dream that's very accessible because anyone can fill in. Oh, I was back in school and I felt really pressured and I didn't. I felt unprepared. Oh, okay, feeling pressure and unprepared.
Insecure.
Yeah,
That's a big one for high
insecure.
school
And
dreams.
then you can see, oh, do I see this playing out currently in my life somehow? And that's a great way to work with a dream without having to study for years dream symbolism.
One of the things when it comes to dreams and that collective unconscious is there's a couple different apps out there. I have one of them where people can anonymously post their dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had times like when I've had weird dreams, I go to it. Like dreams I feel like are about maybe the future, but maybe about what's happening in society or, the world or whatever. If I have one of those dreams, I always go to this app because I want to see if are people having this kind of dream. It's interesting. And then you get sucked into like all these different dreams people are having and they start talking to each other, like everybody's having, I don't know what to use an example, but, like the moon falling out of the sky or something like that, or
Mm-hmm.
like certain symbolic things that everybody's having this dream around. There's a classic actually urban legend on the internet of everybody dreaming of the same guy's face
Huh.
and sharing that. It'd be interesting. I love what the concept in the apps of trying to get people to put their dreams out there because then you can kind of look at it and kind of get an idea what's going on in that collective unconscious, the mind, the super mind, or whatever's out there through all these people putting their dreams out there.
Yeah, I've seen it too and studied it a little bit. It makes it still very hard to make predictions or to really see, but you can see if people have similar themes, that something to that extent is playing out, and of
Yeah,
course,
I don't think you can make a prediction about it, but it seems like it's an insight to what's going on in that supermind or the collective unconscious. It's just fascinating to me when people start having, it's almost like a shared collective dream experience. Like people are having some of the same dreams at the same time. There's reports of that before 9/11, people having dreams and a shared, collective experience before that, big events that seem to
And
might
what just
affect the
happened
psyche.
in 2020, a lot of symbolism
COVID?
around that. We had like a lot of people.
Well, yeah. Well, I had mine. We know mine. I'll tell you this one before we go to commercial break. Here's another dream of the future. I had 2 dogs, Bella and Asia. And I got a phone call here. I want to try to grab 2. If it hangs up on you, I'll call you back, people. I don't know why it does that. So I got somebody I'm calling back, 325 area code maybe. But I had this dream where my oldest dog, Bella, I knew, and I looked at it at the time, and I even talked to my boss about this. That she's getting old. This is why I had this dream. But in this dream, this is like 6 months before COVID. We were going around the backside of the veterinarian clinic. They had this blanket laid out. She's laying there, and they're euthanizing her. And my 2 boys are there, and the sun's just setting. It's a beautiful scene. There's this breeze. I can feel the breeze. And my sons are just sobbing. And at one point, Liam puts a little flower he picked next to her head after she passed. It was just. I woke up from the dream crying, like it was so emotional. And I told my boss, him and his husband, they're gay. They're never going to have children. They have their fur babies. We would talk about our dogs all the time. Dog parents. And I had said to him that day after that dream, I said, I had a horrible dream of Bella. It wasn't horrible, it was beautiful, but I had a dream of Bella passing away. And I know it's time. We got to make that decision. She was 16 at the time. She died at 17. We're going to have to make that decision, I feel like. And I told him that. Well, it happens, 6 months down the road later, we're in lockdown. And here we are having to put her down. She had a stroke. And I remember walking around the side of the building going, oh, my God, this is it. This is the dream. And I remember when I had the dream, I didn't think it was prophetic because I'm like, one, why would we be outside? Why would they be euthanizing her outside? 2, I would never bring my children to this. I didn't want to bring my children to when we had to euthanize Bella. But all of it was there. And it was to tell me, like the world's going to be a little bit different coming soon.
Yeah.
Because I had no idea about COVID, and that's why we'd be outside, and my children would be there, But I guess it prepped me and made me for the right decision because it made me that dream made me realize to pay attention to another dream for my dog Asia, because I also had a frightening dream of her passing where we woke up in the middle of the night and she had this tumor that she really had, and it exploded in the middle of the night, and she died in my arms screaming. It was horrible. It was a nightmare. But because of the dream I had of Bella, that made me pay attention to her, and it was starting to get real bad and pussing, and I said, I think it's time. We got to take her in. And they ended up having to put her down. We didn't have that happen. And I swear, I think if I hadn't paid attention to that dream and we just let it go, we would have woke up in the middle of the night having this horrible passing, when instead we got another peaceful passing like we did for Bella.
Yeah, beautiful examples where the dream helps with the transition and helps people and animals in their journey through life.
We do have somebody on the phone line I want to get to. We got a commercial break here in about 4 minutes. Who do we got?
This is Rob.
Hey, Rob. Thanks for calling in.
No problem. Seems like nobody wants to call in this time.
Dreams are personal.
Afraid to talk about their dreams.
Yeah, it's a personal thing. It's hard. I get that. Well, thank you for calling it.
I know. I've been sitting here trying to debate on which dreams I want to talk about.
We got about 4 minutes of commercial break, so pick one.
Well, I've decided on talking about my Army dreams.
Ooh.
I've been out of the Army since 2004. And I got PTSD. I've got severe sleep apnea and all this kind of stuff. So I'm long out of the Army. I'm no longer qualified to go in, but I keep having these dreams. Like every once in a while, like I'm still in the Army, but I'm not reporting for duty. I'm not showing up to formations. I'm just kind of like drifting. And it's like in my dream, it's like I've been doing this for a while. And it's like all of a sudden I'm like, I think I need to report. It's like they're looking for me. I know they are. Then it's like, no, don't do it, dude. They'll nail you. You're on the run. Just
you're
stay
going
where you're
AWOL.
at. Don't go anywhere. Yeah, pretty much. I'm AWOL in my dreams. And it's like I don't know what my dreams are trying to tell me about this.
What do you think him going AWOL in his dream means?
Well, I would write out Rob the feelings you have in the dream, and then start seeing, do you recognize those feelings? What is it like to be back in the Army? What do you experience? Is it scary or is it exciting? What do you do? Um, and then does it replace scenes that you've lived before, or is this completely new? There's a lot of questions that you could ask yourself, and then if it's like in the old days, if it's identical, then it's somewhat often signifying a replaying of some trauma. If it's new, then look at what kind of emotions and feelings you have, and where they might be in your day-to-day life, where they might be identical to that time.
Well, I was kind of, I've been trying to analyze them myself, and then I'm kind of wondering if this is like a metaphor for something in my life that I should be doing now, but I'm not.
Well, then
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Then also look at do you feel you're drifting along, and that you're not showing up for duty, and if so, where might that be, and where might you and what do you feel called to do that maybe you're not do you know? Be my question for you.
Right. Well, all I know is what I want to do and the struggles that I have to do them.
Well, it's of course great that you already know what you want to do. Maybe you can ask your dream a question as, what is one thing I can do this week to get a step closer to my goals or to my dreams, the daytime dreams then.
Right. Sometimes I wonder if I should try to take control of my dream, and perhaps, if I'm in that dream again, just say, screw it. Just go report, and whatever happens, happens, and see what happens.
Well, but that would also apply then to this life. See if you what happens if you would show up and do what you want to do.
Right.
Well, thank you, Rob, for calling in. We got a good commercial break. I hope that helps, get a little clarity. I have dreams I'm in the Army. I've never been in the Army. I have. And I'm like, how do I get out of here?
Yeah, I have dreams about teeth falling out all the time too, man.
Oh yeah.
I know how you
Those
feel.
are the worst. Those are the worst. Well, thank you, Rob. You have a great night.
Thank you for your service.
Yes, thank you for your service too.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Right,
have
bye.
a good night.
Thank you, Rob.
Bye.
All right, we got a half hour left to show, but we're going to go to commercial break. When we come back, lines will be back open. Just wait to call in when we come back from this commercial break, guys. And, I know it's hard. I know we don't have the callers, and I know talking about dreams is personal. There's stuff I don't talk about. I share a lot of stuff on the show, but there's definitely dreams I'd never share on the show. Things that are definitely personal. So I get that. But maybe you can think of something. You can think of something and we can help out. Call in after the short commercial break.
Intercepted the transmission of unknown origin.
Transmission? Out here?
SOS.
Human.
Unknown.
Alien. Certificate X. Exclusive engagement at the Odeon Leicester Square. Now.
Any systematized transmission indicating a possible intelligent origin must be investigated.
I will hear it.
In space, no one can hear you scream.
If you are interested in discovering the truth about the paranormal and want to hear from leading researchers in the field, join Justin Brown on his 3 weekly shows named My Paranormal Soapbox, Necromancer Live Show, and the Supernatural Symposium, live on Facebook, YouTube, and
This is an APAC studio presentation.
Hi, I'm Barry, owner-operator of Barry's Barometer Barn. Lately, I bet you've been lying awake at night asking yourself, how many barometers do I really need? Well, at Barry's Barometer Barn, we think you need more than one. Otherwise, we're gonna go out of business. Remember, at Barry's Barometer Barn, we don't know the meaning of high-pressure sales. Come on, folks, buy another barometer. I'm trying to put my kids through college, I've got a family to support, and a secret mistress who isn't cheap.
Visit Barry's Barometer Barn, 000 Storm Drive. Come on, folks, buy a barometer. I'm Barry's older brother, Larry, and every time one of you people walk past the store without coming in, Barry beats me.
This has been a presentation from Tim Morgan's APAC Studio. For more almost professional amateur comic studio content, visit the APAC YouTube channel. Search APAC 2002. That's APAC 2002 on YouTube.
When Alex Gardner is asleep, he has an extraordinary gift. The government wants it, the scientists want it, but to keep it may cost him his life. It might be better if Alex didn't sleep at all, but he cannot resist entering the dreamscape. Can you? See Dreamscape in the West End and all over London now. Certificate 15. It takes an extraordinary adventurer to enter the dreamscape.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from Talkstream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Join us every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time for Weird Wednesday, the live stream, with your hosts Jamie, the Living Dead Girl, and Rob, the Phantom, where we'll talk about all things paranormal, including zodiac, astrology, tarot card and oracle card readings, live ghost boxing and spirit communication, where we'll do Voices from Beyond, the Cold Case Files. So we hope you join us live on Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time. We hope to see you there. Bye-bye.
Since 1948, Fate magazine has brought you reports of the strange and unknown, all of them true. Fate Radio is carrying on that tradition, bringing you the unusual, macabre, strange, and bizarre. Join host Kat Hobson Sunday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Heat 'em up.
Do,
begun.
You're listening to Paranormal Soup, bringing you the weird every Sunday night. Call into the show and join the discussion. The call-in lines are 219-230-4444 or 260-225-9419 or by Skype caller ID OOJBland00 or JBland Paranormal Soup. And now to your host, Jason Bland.
Tonight's guest is Machiel Klerk. He's author of Dream Guidance, Connecting to the Soul Through Dream Incubation. And tonight I want you guys to do some dream incubation. Have a question for your dreams tonight. Write it down. Do some kind of ritual. We went over the steps and we'll go over them again. And email me at paranormalsoupjbland@gmail.com. Tell me the results. I'd love to hear. Love to hear if you get a result from it tonight. Or anytime this week. If you want to try it, give it a few tries. Who knows how long it might take for your dreams to answer you back. But give it a try. It seems very simple to do. I've done it. I've recommended it to the people that called in the show, especially for their loved ones during ITC night. I said, if you want to connect with them, talk to them. Tell them to come to you in a dream. I know people have had that experience, you know. Maybe that's what you try tonight. Tell me if you have an experience. The phone lines are, let me make sure they're open. And they are open. You can call in. We got the last 25 minutes or so left of the show. But let's go ahead and get back to our guest. Thank you, Machiel, for staying with us here in the last half hour of the show. Now, you've traveled the world and studied a lot of different cultures when it comes to their, their philosophy on dreams and dreaming or whatever. What is some of the these cultures taught you, or what have you learned from studying different? Everybody dreams for all of mankind's history, and all these cultures have views and opinions and experiences with it. What have you learned from that? Oh, hold on. Sorry, my bad. I unmuted you. Sorry. There you go.
There we go. Different things from different cultures. So I spent a lot of time with the African cultures, and I was born in South Africa, so I would go back to South Africa, be with the indigenous healers. And what some of the features there is that it's the most common aspect is that the ancestors are in the dreams, and that the world of dream just is a world that not only is there at night, but also goes on during the day. So when we open up our eyes, it's not that the dream world completely disappears. This stream of consciousness or this other world coexists and is interconnected with this world, and that appears to be kind of the most common shamanic view around the world, that you have this world and the other world coexisting, and the other world is inhabited by spirit guides or ancestors, and we can build a relationship with these ancestors and spirit guides so that we form a team, and a team that can function in this world and of course also in the other world. So there's an interdependent relationship. I think that was very crucial for my understanding around dreams, visiting the African tradition. When I went to Greece, I learned a lot about how dreams were triggered for healing, not only psychological problems like how can I deal with my anxiety or depression, but even for physical issues. That
That's
especially
amazing.
in the old days, it was very much oriented around all kinds of physical problems people had.
That's fascinating that they can even cure or eliminate a physical problem, like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
They would use your dreams to try to help you with that problem.
Yeah, they would, and you see it in more cultures, but especially the Asclepian tradition in Greece was known for their healing, the healing through dreams.
Any cultures that one of the things I'm interested in, I played the ad for an old movie I was fascinated with as a kid. So fascinating. I watched it every time I'd find it on TV as Dreamscape. And in this movie, it was 1980s, this guy and several people in the movie have this ability. They're psychics or whatever, but they have this ability to synchronize with somebody, and they even have a machine eventually that helps them do it, and they can enter somebody's dream. And I just read an article recently how they talked about video game people. They did a study when people are playing like a game together that their brains actually synchronize
Yeah.
together. Or
Yeah.
people talk long enough, their brains start to synchronize too. That do you think all your study of dreams and all this and the ability of people entering? I guess what I'm getting at is, do you think it would ever be possible for two people for them to find a way for people to actually have a shared dream experience, like or any culture that had a way of doing that through a ritual or meditation?
Well, in lucid dreams, people have been trying to meet up in the dream space together, and have done experiments. For example, let's say you and I would do it, and then I would with Jamie agree, like when I meet Jason, I will make this sign. So we would become lucid, or I would become lucid, would visit you in your dream, would do this. And then the next day you would tell Jamie, did you see Machiel? And if so, what did he do? So that
Validation.
there is a validation. And there's been pretty accurate, of a pretty
Really?
reliable reports of people doing this, and with a third person validating it.
Do they do anything specific to try to like sync up to that person is what I was wondering, because like I said, like they've done these studies where people's brain waves sync up to each other doing certain
Yeah, no,
activities
you
or
can just in especially when you become lucid, you can just say, I would love to visit Jason in his dream, and then you'll be zapped into that dream space where you're in.
That's an experiment that Katrina's actually working on. Her and Rhodey and them, they have a group
Really? Oh, that
that's been
sounds
going on
awesome.
for years, and I think they're getting close. They've been very diligent about meeting up. I don't remember how many.
Why
I
they
don't know how
invite
much I can
me to the
say.
dream party?
Well, I
I didn't
think
even
this
hear
kind of
about this.
started a while back, and they've got a whole
Katrina,
group of
Rhodey,
people.
they need to get me in on this. Come on.
But they've
So they're
been
doing this.
documenting it from the beginning, yeah. So I've been
Really? I didn't know.
anxiously waiting to see what they come up with, and they've been trying. I think there's one person that is like the person everybody's trying to go to, and they have different cues and things, and they meet
That's
up and do
awesome.
Zoom meetings, and I'm really
Well, like,
excited to see what comes out of it.
This sounds like a roadie idea. This sounds
I
like
don't
her
know. I
mind.
don't know who concocted it, but
Yeah,
I'm
it sounds
here
like something
for
she'd
it.
be into too. Yeah, I want to hear about this. See, we got our Halloween show. Those ladies better be on, and remind me to ask them about that on the show because it's open lines night. I want to hear more about that. But so there are groups, you're saying, Machiel, that are doing these kind of experiments where they try
Yeah.
to have a shared dream experience.
Yeah, and it is yeah, we're interconnected, and and I think we have from time to time these shared dream experiences. Usually we're not lucid, but we can be in each other's dream spaces.
See, the movie Dreamscape. I was so fascinated with that movie when I was a kid, and in the whole plot of that movie is it's a CIA project, which
Mhm.
is funny because many years later we find out they actually were doing this stuff.
Yeah,
with
the
you know,
CIA and has been very interested in all kinds of these things of how
Mhm.
do you get remote access? How can you use dreams for A, B, and C to get information?
the scary
For our
premise of it.
enemies too, right? Haven't
Well,
they tried that?
Well, the scary premise of this whole movie is they try to assassinate a president. The CIA, the president's getting all basically having these nightmares in the movie of World War III and nukes, and he wants to sign a deal with Russia. Sorry, giving it away, but it's 1984. I think the movie came out. If you haven't seen it, well, spoiler. He's having nightmares of nuclear war happening, and he wants to make a peace deal with Russia. And of course, CIA is like, well, that's going to affect our budget, man. And they get this one of these dreamscape guys that's kind of a little twisted to get a room next to him and like tune into his energy and like get into his dream and scare him to death, like a dream assassination. And the main character Alex has got to stop it and get in the dream and fight him. Great movie, but it does look at the potential of if that is out there, you could enter somebody else's dream, for people to do maybe some nefarious things too.
Probably, and everyone who's now afraid can also just say, "No one. I don't want to have anyone visit me tonight. That isn't in the service of my best interest." That seems to also put up a wall.
Yeah, we have some psychic barrier we can always put up. I always feel like we're protected in the sense, but it makes you wonder. I mean, there are people they talk about being haunted by the living. Like somebody sleeps, and to them they're having dreams, but they're actually like physically manifesting in somebody else's home. It's called haunted by the living. Basically, there's been some people have had this experience where they've seen somebody who's alive, they're not dead, in their home, but that person's miles away sleeping. But they're manifesting like a ghost would or something in somebody's house. That's another aspect to it. That's a kind of the out of body maybe experience somebody's having in haunting a location living. But makes you wonder what somebody can do or see outside. I've always thought about that after my experiences. It's like the ability here could be tremendous for organizations like the CIA if they could really tap into it to spy, to get information out of people. That's the whole concept of the movie Inception, as well, as confusing as that movie is. That is the concept. They're trying to steal information by entering the layers of dreams.
Yeah.
I like how you mentioned this, it as like a spirit guide type of a connection, because that's something that I relate to. That's something I connect with every night. I go out to the park and I have my time. If the moon's out, that's what my focus, or the stars.
It's a ritual for you.
It's
a total ritual.
And it's kind of a meditation. I don't try to focus on one thing or emptying my mind. What I do is I just kind of look up at the stars and then just let my mind do what it has to do. It's kind of like an awake dreaming.
Yeah.
And I get a lot of answers that way. And I never thought to, and I do ask a lot of questions and have them, come to me in dreams, but I never thought to ask why I get certain recurring dreams. I never thought to ask about my dreams, because I'm kind of plagued by a recurring scenario that does come up when I'm under a lot of anxiety, like what's going on in the world right now has pretty much triggered it, because it comes down to me feeling under attack and trying to get away. And I will repeat this cycle. So usually I have to die in the dream. I don't know why. It doesn't matter how many times I wake up. If I don't end that dream with me dying, and I know that the cue is when they look me in the eyes. It's something with my visitation dreams that validates that it's a visitation, because there's eye contact. And then in these type dreams, it's kind of a cue, because there will be eye contact, and usually there's not a face to it. And it's somebody trying to come through the door, me pushing the door, and they're able to get through it, funneling me down the house to where I'm by the toilet, and they have the gun right in my face. I'll try to wake myself up, go to the bathroom, come back. I wake up in the same exact spot till they finally get me in the face, the flash, and I wake up. So this is something I've gotten counseling for, to try to help me deal with it and everything. But I never thought to actually ask, why am I, because I know there's got to be something I'm missing in these.
Right.
What am I overlooking?
Right. Yeah. Well, it would be great to use your dreams and ask your spirit guide, please show me in my dream tonight, what is one thing I can do to solve this issue, or what should I know about this dream? And you can ask multiple questions over different nights to figure out and to see which one it opens, cracks the code, and that way solve this dream.
Thank you for that, because this is definitely a tool that I'm going to be trying to use, and you might have really helped me with something. So
That's
thank
awesome.
you.
That's a horrible dream to have. How often have you had that? I mean, you sounds like
I get it 3 or 4 times a week.
Oh, yeah.
Really? Oh, that's awful, Jamie.
Yeah.
I had one last night. I woke up to it this morning, and
yeah. Well, to tell your dream guide or your spirit guide, gosh, this is so haunting me. It's so difficult. I would love to solve this issue. Maybe there's something I need to learn in it, and then figure it out. What is one thing I can do to solve this, or what should I know about this, or what is the message in this dream? Something
Thank you.
will help you move it forward.
I know I stopped having the tsunami dream years ago when I was having up when I was still doing the show. You know, when I first started doing the show, and I think when I had Lane Defane on, and we talked about how everybody on that beach is people I care and love about, and there's this tidal wave that when I realized that's really about my fear of losing the people I love because of things that are out of my control, like events in the world, like you're talking about, Jamie. I stopped having that dream.
Yeah. Yeah, once you know what the dream means and you can implement it in your life, life moves on, and you get another dream. Maybe you get another nightmare, but at least it's another one. You feel
Maybe a
like
new answer.
you feel like you're progressing.
Baloo, you said, if I heard correctly, a living person can appear as a phantasm projection into someone's dream. I assume the living person would be asleep when this occurs. What I was talking about is living people, somebody dreaming, somebody sleeping, and then appearing physically in somebody's house, like haunting them. But they're asleep somewhere else, a living haunting. That's what I was referring to.
That makes me think about hexes and curses and things.
But then with the shared dream experience, people have miles apart and share a dream, you know.
Yeah.
Or sleeping next to each other, like me and my wife, and we share a dream.
Yeah.
You know. But at the same time too, it's like I said, I always wondered if there's a way with, you know, binaural beats or things to sync up people's brains together that we could induce this state between two
Well,
people.
it work. These things work best by expectation and intention. That those are these reality creating principles. I expect that I wake up in the dream, and I wake up, but I don't truly wake up. I expect that I wake up, and the same with if I wanted to be in this, have a dream with someone else. Best thing is to do to set a ritual in which I have an intention, make a drawing, say something to the dream, create the expectation that I will have that experience. That's what either brings us there or not. But that's the mechanism in how that works.
One of the things another movie from the 80s I was totally fascinated. It was the 80s or late 70s, but I was fascinated with. And it's cheesy now. It's totally cheesy. If you people go watch this movie, it's cheesy, but it's not. It's trippy, but is Altered States, where this anthropologist gets this kind of like ayahuasca kind of drug, whatever, and puts himself in a isolation tank, basically, where he's floating in water. You know, like all senses are cut off, and then he goes into this funnel into the human conscious. It's very trippy, and yeah, don't make fun of me for liking that movie, but I do. But I've always been interested ever since then of the people's experiences in sensory deprivation tanks, because they're kind of putting themselves in this. They cut off all input, and I've always found this whole concept fascinating. What consciousness is in itself. A dream is really key into this, but is that when you put somebody in a sensory deprivation tank where you cut off all the inputs, you know, their brain creates its own world. They become in a lucid state, just like a dream.
Yeah.
And I always say to people, you know, think about reality and consciousness and what we are, and you know how all this could be a dream that we're in, because when you have a dream, there's other people in your dream you're interacting with, but those people are you.
Not necessarily. If you
not always necessarily, right. If you're having afterlife or ancestor connections, maybe, but sometimes those dreams are dreams, and your subconscious is creating characters to interact with you.
Yeah.
And people like I always bring this up is multiple personality cases. I mean, I bring up Sybil. Most people believe now that that's a fake case. I don't know. But the idea, and there's other people who have experienced this, that people have gone through deprivation or torture or sensory deprivation, where they, have had this experience where their brain splits into other personalities or conscious. It makes its own world for itself to escape the real world, or because all sensories put up. But it just said, to me, it's like a key to what consciousness is. If you cut off all the inputs, there's no input, and you leave it to the void, that it starts to create its own world, its own new personalities. Like it splits, just like a cell would divide. It's got to not be one consciousness. It's going to split now into 2 or 3. I think it's like key to what maybe nature, reality, or consciousness is, that we are in this ever-creating force of consciousnesses. Doesn't want to be alone.
Yeah, when the consciousness presents itself as a world, it's always a world.
Yeah, it's got to create. It's got to have a thought. It's got to create. Oh, we got a phone call here. Let's take one more call before we end here. Who do we got on the line?
How's it going? This is James from Northwest Indiana.
Hey, how you doing? Make sure you turn us off in the background.
Okay. Yeah, I had you on the Bluetooth. So.
All right, James, what do you got? We got a little bit of time left before the show ends.
Okay, yeah, I just didn't want to block anybody else from calling, but I wanted to ask Machiel if he could help maybe answer something. I had a dream, or a nightmare rather, first time around 4, maybe 5, and it was about me waking up alone next to a campfire out in the middle of nowhere. As having this as a kid, I really couldn't understand the area type at that young of an age, but later on it feels like it's maybe on the side of a mountain or near boulders and some pine trees somewhere out west. But I wake up and I'm looking for my grandpa or my dad, just because I'm kind of confused why I'm next to a campfire out in the middle of nowhere at night. And I don't see anybody. I notice these boulders in the background. I notice these few pine trees. And when I look back by the fire for the light, there's a wolf sitting down like a dog would, with his paws laying in front of the Sphinx is sitting, I guess. And at first I'm afraid because I'm really young at this age, and I'm thinking, what am I going to do? Nobody's here to help me. And I was already climbing trees at that age, so I guess that was my only resort was to run to the pine trees. And the wolf got up from its sitting position, chased me, and when I got to the tree to pull myself up on the limbs, I felt like the bottom of his nose smacked my bottom of my shoe, I guess, as I'm climbing up. So it felt like it was that terrifying, I barely escaped. And the next time I'd have this dream, it played out the same exact way, other than the fact that the dog or the wolf was looking at me sitting down. After that, when I'd had this dream, I would wake up like I'd be thrown into it. So I'd wake up laying in the dream next to the fire, and I'd already knew from the first time what kind of was already going on.
It's
so
you remember, dreamt this before. Yeah.
And I'm immediately running for those pine trees, knowing this is my only escape out of this dream or nightmare. And I would have it maybe 2-3 times a year. And after a couple of times, I went to my dad and asked him, because I'm just a little kid, and I'm like, I'm having this nightmare about a wolf in a fire, and I'm kind of explaining it to him because he's asking. And his only words of helping me were, maybe it's Native American related and it's in your blood, because he's not Native American himself, but my mom, she's part Apache, so he's maybe it has something to do. Yeah, but I mean, right, I'm not sure. That's why I was kind of asking. But then I would have this dream maybe 2-3 times a year sporadically, never back to back or anything. And I got to the point where it frustrated me so much that when I would have this dream, I'd wake up in the dream and I'd think, oh no, not this again, immediately knowing to run towards the pine trees to get away and barely escaping every time. And then when I turned maybe 8, or it was maybe 7, almost 8, I had the dream again, and I don't know if there was something throughout that day that changed this dream later on that night, but I woke up, and instead of looking at the trees and making my break for it, I acted like I was going to, and I grabbed the log that was hanging out of the fire, that was big enough for me to pick up, and I kind of like leaped the fire to go after the wolf out of frustration, I guess, and it turned and ran like a dog would like get chased away.
Back.
And yeah, I guess I just stood up to my feet. I don't know what to make out of it, but yeah, after that, I never had that dream again. It never came back. I even asked my kids, because I have younger kids, to like explain to me their dreams at times when they wake up and I'd be there or whatever, just because I was worried they were maybe having it too, and it was like bloodline related. But I was just hoping that you'd help maybe answer that. Or
Well, what you could do tonight, for example, is say to tell your dream, gosh, Wolf, you were there in the past, and do you have a message for me? And then just see what the wolf has to say. And most likely, this is a wolf that has something. Uh, might want to have a connection with you, and maybe it's indeed some dream wolf that lives in the other world. That could be some form of a spirit animal, and could be of support. So just ask it, and but also tell your higher self, if this wolf isn't in my best interest, I'm not interested in learning and knowing more about it. But if it would benefit me and the people around me to be connected to this wolf, I would be open to do it. And then say, Wolf, what do you what do you want to tell me, or what kind of message do you have for me? And then see what kind of dream comes as a result of that. Would that be something, James, that you could see yourself doing?
oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to give that a shot. This is gonna sound weird, but I always thought, for some reason, even at a younger age, after maybe my dad explained that to me, that I thought maybe I would visit an Indian out west one day, like when I was older, and maybe like an elder would be able to explain the dream to me one day, like destiny or something, like waiting to tell me, I guess.
Yeah, and and now you have a technique in which you can ask the wolf directly what it wants to tell you,
Yeah, tonight.
And nothing beats that.
Write it down. Say, I want to know what do you got to say, Wolf. You know, one thing I add to that is it could also be a way of getting you to lucid dream, because you said you realized enough that you've been there before, you've done this, and you grab the stick and fight it off. 'Cause
Yeah,
I had a similar experience. I used to have reoccurring dreams about a big black dog. Like I would think of it as a hellhound in a cemetery.
Right.
And one of the last times I had a dream about this thing, I realized I've had this dream. I know this thing, and I went Matrix on it, like went like up, like
Right,
went and
like
kicked
you
its
could
ass.
play out the ending.
Yeah, and I realized, and then I had a great dream because I was like totally lucid. Well, hey James, thank you so much for calling in and sharing tonight too, bud.
Oh no, not a problem. And thank you guys for being there for help and advice to try. So thank you.
All right, man.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Machiel.
Yeah,
All right.
and
Thanks.
let me know if
Have a good night.
if you ask the wolf any questions and it answers in your dream. Let me know. Email me.
All right, will do.
All right, bye.
All right. Good night.
Well, Machiel, thank you so much for being on the show tonight. Your website, you want to get out to people?
Yes, it's a little bit difficult. Maybe you can put it in the show notes somewhere. It's my first and last name. It's Machiel Klerk, MachielKlerk.com. But also, if you type in Dream Guidance, you'll in Amazon, you will find my book, and then you'll find my name. And it's my first and last name is the website, or visit Jung Platform, JUNG platform.com. There you also find more about me and all kinds of other interesting programs on Jungian psychology.
I know if you go to Amazon, you just start typing dream, and before you even finish guidance, the first book that comes up in the list is yours. So
Excellent.
it's easy
Yeah,
to find.
thank you.
It's really easy to find. But she shared the link in the chat too for the book. So, but it's really easy to find. Definitely, I got to get a copy of this and check it out. Thank you so much, Machiel, for being on the show. Definitely, I got to get the book, and you have a great night.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Jamie. Good dreams to both of you.
Yeah. And good dreams to everybody else tonight listening. I'd love to hear your results. If you go ask your dreams, have a question for your dream, ask it. Maybe a loved one come through, or I've asked you guys to do that before when you've talked about trying to connect with your loved ones, to call out to them, tell them to come to you in a dream. Do you have that experience? I want to know. Paranormal Soup, jbland@gmail.com. That's where you can reach me if you want to tell me that or anything else. Any strange experience. I've had some good ones lately, some good emails, so I love hearing your guys' stories. That's it for the show. We will be back next Sunday, same bad time, same bad channel, with guest Natalie Zett. She's going to talk about the Eastland disaster in 1915 downtown Chicago. Her research into it led to actually discovering stuff about her own family and the connection to it, and a lot of paranormal weird stuff. She's an author, writes fiction, but it led down this weird paranormal path for her. When we come back next Sunday. See you then, guys. Have a great night.